Chapter 1, 1 Chapter 1, Energy Points. 1 Chapter 1, Energy Points Mori Genera, Year 832. Rumble, rumble, patter, patter. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Rainwater dripped continuously from the eaves. The water droplets smashed onto the stone floor, shattering and splashing like pearls falling onto a jade plate, resounding with crisp and pleasant sounds. Inside the room under the eaves, a young boy, not yet 10 years old, lay on a simple wooden bed, his face pale and wrapped in a washed-out white quilt. In a corner of the room, by the stove, a frail young girl stood up. B0XO. Calm as lightning sparked, the faint light from the broken window spilled onto her. She stood not more than 5 feet tall, with fair skin and a naive, slightly delicate facial appearance, and wore a set of gray linen clothes. Not bothering to wipe the sweat from her forehead, she carefully poured the medicinal soup from the stove into a prepared clay bowl before hurriedly approaching the bedside. Xiaoyun, the medicine is ready. Once you drink it, you'll get better quickly. The girl gently blew on the spoonful of soup and, trembling, brought it to the boy's lips as she whispered softly. At that moment, a streak of light pierced the sky, shining brilliantly and dazzlingly, and for an instant outshining the flickering lightning and illuminating the gloomy, dark sky like daylight. Drink the medicine. Ayun, drink the medicine. Anxiously trying to get her brother to swallow the medicine, the girl didn't notice a wisp of divine light flying into the room and merging into the boy's brow. Gulp, gulp, the boy's throat moved slightly as he swallowed the medicine, followed by the sound of the girl's surprise and excitement. Little brother. Lu Yun only felt a sharp, tingling, numb sensation throughout his body as if every bone and muscle had separated. Accompanied by this indescribable pain, he gradually sensed a torrent of chaotic information merging into his consciousness. Spirit Creek Village, Cloud Dream Mountain. Lu Yun woke up slowly in a worn-out room. In that instant, a series of sporadic memories flooded his mind, both strange and familiar. For a long time, as the memories digested, Lu Yun's heart was filled with mixed emotions. Excitement, joy, worry, fear. Transmigration has always been a legend. I never thought it would happen to me today. Since he had come, Lu Yun quickly accepted the reality that his soul had crossed over. By coincidence, the person his soul had transmigrated into was also called Lu Yun. According to the memories in his mind, this was a world of martial arts, where sex contended, aristocratic families vied for power, regional governors battled, and bandits roamed unchecked. Furthermore, demon beasts occasionally launched beast tides, wreaking havoc on the mortal world. The original owner of this body was an ordinary farmer's boy with a weak constitution. After a severe illness, his consciousness faded and was replaced by Lu Yun. It truly is a wondrous world. As Lu Yun slowly sat up and prepared to get out of bed, the door suddenly creaked open, and a frail figure appeared in his vision. Xiaoyun. Overwhelmed with emotion, the girl immediately rushed over and tightly embraced Lu Yun, her eyes moist. Xiaoyun, you finally woke up. If you didn't, your sister wouldn't know what to do. Sister. Lu Yun whispered softly, feeling the girl's excited tremble and the heartfelt, most genuine emotions deep within her. He knew that from now on, he would have to bear all the consequences of this body. Sister, be careful, I can barely breathe. Lu Yun soon realized something was off. Xiaoyun's sister, Lu Yu, became increasingly overexcited to the point where she ended up squeezing the breath out of him. This body was already weak and exhausted from just recovering from a serious illness, making it difficult for Lu Yun to concentrate on his thoughts. Ah, it's all my fault. I got too excited. Are you all right, Ayun? After letting go of Lu Yun and seeing his pale face and slightly gasping breaths, Lu Yu asked him, worried. It's okay, just need some rest. Don't worry about me, sister. Lu Yun reassured her. It's our fault, both mine and your eldest brother's. We didn't take good care of you. Lu Yu stood up, opened the window, and sunlight poured in, illuminating the entire room instantly. Bathing in the gentle sun, Lu Yun's body also became warm and cozy. My body has always been like this. Over the years, it's only thanks to my elder brother and your hard work and care that I've made it this far. I'm already quite content with how things are now, Lu Yun said with a smile, comforting Lu Yu. A small-scale beast tide occurred 10 years ago, affecting Cloudwater County and surrounding counties, and causing significant damage to Spirit Creek Village. Lu Yun's father, a member of the village's beast hunting team, died tragically under the hooves of the demon beasts. Lu Yun's mother, pregnant for 10 months at the time, was affected by the chaos, harmed her foundation, and gave birth to Lu Yun prematurely, ultimately passing away. Due to prenatal distress, Lu Yun was born with insufficient constitution and weak, sickly health. At that time, his sister Lu Yu was only 4 or 5 years old, and his brother Lu He, not yet 8 years old, had to become the breadwinner of the family. Although both his brother and sister loved Lu Yun tremendously, always saving the best for him, they could do nothing about his congenital deficiencies. It could be said that Lu Yun was lucky to live to be 10 years old. Sister, where's my older brother? Why haven't I seen him? Lu Yun's face changed slightly. He went to take the hunting team trials. As long as he passes the trial, he'll become a member of the hunting team, and our family's living conditions will improve. As she said this, Lu Ye's face visibly relaxed, and she looked forward to a brighter future. Her brother waking up and her elder brother joining the hunting team seemed like everything was starting to take a positive turn. The hunting team? Lu Yun's face showed a hint of expectation. The hunting team was the protective force of Spirit Creek Village, and every member a powerful martial artist. They possessed great strength and enjoyed the best treatment. Unfortunately, all this had nothing to do with Lu Yun. His innate deficiencies and weak constitution made it exceedingly difficult for him to become a martial artist, 10 times more so than ordinary people. Even after crossing into such a world of martial arts, am I, Lu Yun, still destined to be an ordinary and mediocre person? A feeling of desolation rose in Lu Yun's heart. Xiaoyan, this is a soup made from blood ginseng. It will help your body recover. Lu Yu poured the medicinal stew made from blood ginseng on the stove into a bowl and handed it over. After hesitating for a moment, Lu Yun eventually took the bowl with both hands. He had frequently drunk this blood ginseng soup in the past, but its effects were limited. It barely maintained his life, not fundamentally treating his ailments. To lessen the burden on his family, he had refused to take the soup for the past year. Now, this new Lu Yun had a different soul and naturally wouldn't refuse it. Given a second chance at life, he didn't want to give up on any shred of hope. As the blood ginseng soup entered his stomach, a flash of light appeared before Lu Yun's eyes, and a screen of light emerged in his field of vision. Energy points, +1, 1. Chapter 2, Chapter 2. I want to learn martial arts. 2 Chapter 2. I want to learn martial arts. What on earth? How did this happen? The line of text just now flashed by, but Lu Yun saw it clearly. Could this be my cheat? It can transform blood ginseng soup into energy points, helping me improve my cultivation technique or martial arts. What just happened completely exceeded his knowledge, leaving him no choice but to attribute everything to the cheats bestowed upon transmigrators. Regaining his senses, he subconsciously looked at the bowl in his hand, only to see that it was nearly empty, so he quickly licked it clean with his tongue. Unfortunately for him, nothing similar to what had happened before occurred again. Is it because there's not enough? Lu Yun secretly regretted. Xiaoyu, great news. I passed the test, and officially became a member of the monster hunting team. At the moment when Lu Yun was still studying the sudden appearance of text, an excited voice entered his ear. B0XO. Come. Huh. Hearing this voice, both Lu Yun and Lu Yu were startled before immediately looking towards the door. At this moment, a burly man was walking in from the outside. The man was wearing a black coat, a large saber was hanging from his waist, and he had a sun hat on his head, covering half of his face, leaving a pair of sharp and mature eyes exposed. He carried a bag in his right hand. He hung the bag on the wall before stepping through the entrance, untying the hat and taking it off, revealing a sunny and handsome face. This was Lu Yun's eldest brother. As Lu He entered the room, he saw Lu Yun awake. First, he was stunned and then overjoyed, exclaiming, "Little, Xiao Yun is awake. When did this happen?" "He just woke up not long ago." "You're back just in time, eldest brother," Lu Yu replied from the side. "Thank goodness he's awake. Thank goodness." Lu He's eyes were moist. "Today's a double celebration. I've got a piece of beast meat to help Xiao Yun recover." "There's beast meat?" Lu Ye's face showed surprise. "Yes, it's a reward for passing the assessment and joining the hunting team today. The bag outside contains about 10 pounds. "Great, I'll cook it right away." After Lu Yu left the house, only Lu Yun and Lu He remained in the room. "Eldest brother, I want to learn martial arts." Lu Yun took the initiative to break the silence. "Haha, you want to learn martial arts? That's great." Lu He laughed and said, "Once you've recovered, you'll join your peers in the village to practice your skills." "No, I want to start learning martial arts right now. I have a feeling that I can only heal myself by becoming a martial artist," Lu Yun declared firmly. Upon hearing this, Lu He's smile froze. He was about to refuse, but upon seeing the eyes of his younger brother filled with hope, determination, and pleading, he couldn't say no. He loved his family, loved his sister, and loved his unfortunate younger brother even more. He couldn't refuse. "Do you know how difficult it is for someone in your condition to become a martial artist?" Lu He looked at Lu Yun, his face full of seriousness. "That's all right, eldest brother. Just teach me," said Lu Yun, brimming with confidence after discovering that he might possess cheats. After hesitating for a while, Lu He finally agreed. "All right, it's been hard on you these past years. Even if you can't become a martial artist in a short time, it'll gradually help you replenish your energy and blood to make up for your innate deficiencies and improve your health. However, Xiao Yun, there's something I need to make clear to you." "Please go ahead, eldest brother," Lu Yun said seriously. Lu He touched his beardless chin and said in a deep voice, "I don't know what inspired you to learn martial arts. I guess it's because of your recent illness. However, learning martial arts isn't something that can be achieved overnight. It's a continuous process. In your case, this process will be even longer and more persistent. I hope you won't give up until you become an official martial artist at the very least." "I understand." Lu Yun nodded solemnly. "As long as you understand." Lu He thought for a bit and pulled out a small booklet from his chest, wrapped in a thick layer of gray cloth. He carefully opened it up to reveal the inside layer. Several large characters were written on the cover. "Breaking Wind Saber Technique." Although Lu Yun had been physically weak since childhood, he had still attended the village school, so he had no trouble reading and understanding the text. Although this is just a basic saber technique, it can still be considered a third-rate secret skill, and it not only has detailed descriptions, but also illustrations of the correct positions. You should practice by following the instructions, and if you don't understand or have any doubts, don't hesitate to ask me. He carefully handed the booklet to Lu Yun. "Thank you, eldest brother." As soon as he received the booklet, he couldn't wait to open it and start flipping through it. Breaking Wind Saber Technique had only 3 moves. All three moves were offensive. There was no defense, no evasion, just attack. Attack is the best defense. That was the core of the breaking wind saber technique. The first move, sweeping thousands of armies. The second move, breaking thousands of mountains. The third move, sweeping the universe. Although there were only 3 moves, each move contained various basic saber forms, such as chopping, slashing, lifting, chopping, piercing, intercepting, pushing, stabbing, sliding, stirring, collapsing, tapping, and pulling. The 3 moves of breaking wind saber technique, with different sequences and different trajectories of the saber, would display different powers. After quickly looking through it, Lu Yun had a rough idea. However, this does not mean that the breaking wind saber technique is simple and it is immediately mastered. To execute each move, a certain level of proficiency, sufficient strength, and speed are required. Proficiency can be gradually improved by practicing according to the positions in the booklet. As for strength and speed, they depend on physical fitness. Therefore, the breaking wind saber technique also has a complementary refinement cultivation method. The so-called refinement cultivation method aims to refine the body, improve physical fitness, and thus provide enough strength and speed to perform the saber technique. This refinement cultivation method has no official name and is quite common. It has 3 levels corresponding to the 3 moves of the breaking wind saber technique. According to the booklet, only when the saber technique and refinement method are practiced together can the breaking wind saber technique achieve small achievement. To reach great accomplishment, a certain level of proficiency is required. Once perfected, one can become a martial artist. Lu Yun suppressed his excitement and read every word on the booklet repeatedly, trying to memorize all the moves of the breaking wind saber technique as quickly as possible. About an hour later, he had finally memorized all of it and continued to analyze the difficulty of cultivation. Then he focused his mind, and suddenly a transparent and illusory panel appeared before his eyes. Transparent borders, illusory screens, with 2 lines of black characters floating on it. Breaking wind saber technique, pre-entry 0%. Energy points, 1. With a thought from Lu Yun, the transparent illusory panel disappeared, and with another thought, reappeared. I knew I was right. Lu Yun was overjoyed, finally seeing hope after dispelling the clouds, and mist. Immediately, he no longer hesitated, focusing his attention on the breaking wind saber technique and imagining lightly tapping it. Thunk! In his mind, a new set of memories appeared, where he practiced the breaking wind saber technique day in and day out, continuously improving. At the same time, a warm current gushed from the center of his chest, flowing continuously throughout his body. Lu Yun felt incredibly comfortable, as if bathing in a hot spring, feeling refreshed and at ease. Simultaneously, he could feel his originally weak body undergo subtle changes. In an instant, he immediately summoned the panel with a thought. Breaking wind saber technique. Entry level, 10%. Energy points, 0, 1. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Blood ginseng. 3. Chapter 3. Blood ginseng. After raising the breaking wind saber technique to the entry level, Lu Yun felt a significant improvement in his physical fitness and no longer felt as weak and powerless as before. So, taking advantage of the time, while dinner was not yet ready, he practiced the saber technique in the small courtyard. He still followed the positions depicted in the secret manual in his mind while wielding the large saber. This saber was somewhat worn out, and a notch could still be faintly seen on its blade. It had been discarded by Lu He, one swing closely followed by another. His body had somewhat improved after adding points, but it still seemed somewhat insufficient, with clearly inadequate speed and strength. Moreover, He had barely entry-level knowledge of the saber techniques, so he struggled to execute the first move of the breaking wind saber technique accordingly. B0XO. There was still a long way to go before he could use it for combat and defeating enemies. Nevertheless, Lu Yun was excited for quite some time. An hour later, his physical strength fell short, and he sheepishly stopped practicing the saber technique. Breaking wind saber technique. Entry level, 11%. The breaking wind saber technique increased by 1%. This is somewhat unexpected. Lu Yun squinted his eyes, looking at the interface in front of him, slightly lost in thought. At this moment, his stomach let out a rumbling sound, and a strong sense of hunger came over him. Lu Yun was taken aback. I didn't feel hungry at all after raising the technique so much earlier. Why am I so hungry now? Is it because practicing and improving my martial arts consumes my energy? Just then, Lu Yu called him for dinner from inside the house, and Lu Yun hurriedly rushed in, wolfing down the food in his bowl. Then, under the astonished gazes of Lu He and Lu Yu, he cleared all the dishes on the table, including the 2 large bowls of meat, before finally filling up his stomach. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Lu Yun couldn't help but squint his eyes, his belly full and his satisfaction evident. Lu Yu, feeling helpless, could only put down her chopsticks and cook another meal. It didn't really matter to her. She could settle for anything. But Lu He was a martial artist who needed to practice, and the amount of energy he consumed required more food. Eldest brother, what's going on with Xiaoyun today? Is there any problem? After Lu Yun left, Lu Yu asked, slightly worried. Lu Yun's greedy eating had shocked her, and after she snapped out of her surprise, she felt more concern. He practiced his saber technique for a whole afternoon, and it consumed a lot of energy. It should be fine. Lu He casually replied. In fact, he too was somewhat uncertain. In the quiet night, the stars shone brilliantly in the sky. Lying on his bed, Lu Yun gazed at the illusory panel in front of him, deep in thought. Breaking wind saber technique. Entry level, 11%. Energy points, 0, 3. Although the meat of the demon beasts could increase energy points, the energy it contained was relatively small, only adding 0, 2 energy points to his total. Other foods might also contain energy, but perhaps only in minuscule amounts. It might not even accumulate half an energy point over a year and a half. On the other hand, the blood ginseng soup contributed more than 1 energy point, indicating that the blood ginseng contained the most energy. However, given his family's financial situation, they could only afford 1 blood ginseng a month. This had significantly hindered Lu He's martial arts progression. Otherwise, he would have already joined a hunting team. It seems the best way to obtain energy points is to eat the demon beast's meat. As a member of the hunting team, my eldest brother has a share of meat every day. Lu Yun nodded secretly before falling into a deep sleep. In the following days, Lu Yun practiced his saber techniques in the morning and mental cultivation in the afternoon. Although he didn't add any points, he could clearly feel his progress in the saber technique. His body was slowly recovering, with muscles growing on his arms, legs, and back, gradually supporting his originally weak body. With the improvement of his physical fitness, his appetite also increased. He ate more during every single meal than both Lu He and Lu Yu combined. 7 days later, Lu Yun gradually became stronger, on par with his peers in comparison. He had already memorized the breaking wind saber technique manual thoroughly, so he completely returned it to Lu He. Lu He didn't show any reaction, and after casually asking about Lu Yun's cultivation progress, he hurriedly left. The members of the hunting team had heavy tasks, as they had to hunt and patrol the village to ensure the safety of the villagers, since his family didn't have any farmland to work on. After finishing their meal, Lu Yu picked up Lu He and Lu Yun's clothes and went out together with a few neighboring girls. A small river flowed past the east side of the village. Since the establishment of Spirit Creek Village, the river had never dried up, and the village's name mostly came from it. Today, the sunshine was perfect, and more than a dozen young girls and women washed clothes by the river, occasionally making playful noises. Inside Cloud Dream Mountain, a slender young man with delicate facial features cautiously moved forward. It was Lu Yun. During this time, after daily hard training, he had improved his breaking wind saber technique to 20%, and his energy points had accumulated to 3. However, he always felt that his progress was too slow, and at this rate, it would take years to cultivate the breaking wind saber technique to perfection. To significantly reduce the time, he could only take risks and enter the mountains to search for spirit herbs. In fact, this was his first time entering Cloud Dream Mountain. The continuous mountains and endless forests significantly exceeded his expectations. However, he had come here, and there was no place for retreat, nor did he plan to retreat, as he was no longer the weak child he used to be. Besides, he had something to rely on. He tightened the grip on his broken saber, giving him a slight sense of security. Although my strength has improved, I still need to be careful. There's a rumor of powerful demon beasts deep in the mountains. I can't enter too deep, and I should just wander around the periphery. My main goal for this trip is to find some low-level spirit herbs. After re-establishing his goal, Lu Yun's steps became more relaxed. What's that? After walking in the forest for half an hour, Lu Yun's eyes were suddenly attracted by a red ginseng. In a pile of tender green grass, the blood-red ginseng stood out conspicuously, especially with the swaying of the grass in the breeze, highlighting it even more from the rest. It's blood ginseng. Judging by its size, it's much older than any I've consumed before. I'm lucky it hasn't been ruined by other wild animals. At this moment, Lu Yun suppressed his excitement and didn't immediately pick it. He remembered that this was the periphery of Cloud Dream Mountain. Although there were no powerful demon beasts, ferocious beasts were still many, as well as venomous insects and poisonous plants. One had to be slightly careful or risk dying on the spot. Lu Yun was very cautious and cherished his life, so he picked up a stone from the ground and threw it towards the blood ginseng. Bang! The breeze blew, and the leaves swayed, but there was no movement. Pick it up quickly, and then leave immediately. Lu Yun quickly made a decision and ran over. He gently moved aside the weeds and carefully uprooted the entire blood ginseng, roots and all. This blood ginseng is 2 or 3 times larger than the ones I've had before. Consuming it would give me at least 2 or 3 energy points. Even if I don't achieve anything else on this journey, it's worth it. Lu Yun calculated silently in his heart. He put away the blood ginseng and was about to turn and leave. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from behind. Not good. Lu Yun trembled all over, instantly drew the broken saber from his waist, and violently turned around to look. Not far away, a pitch-black wolf was constantly approaching, its eyes full of cruel and cunning as it silently stared at him. Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Small Achievement in Breaking Wind Saber Technique. For Chapter 4, Small Achievement in Breaking Wind Saber Technique. Without any hesitation, Lu Yun quickly turned around and ran. If it was an ordinary wild animal, he was confident he could fight it, but this black wolf gave him a strong sense of oppression, and he had no confidence in winning. Moreover, wolves are pack animals. If he were held back by it, allowing the rest of the pack to catch up, the only thing awaiting him would be death. Indeed, venturing into the mountains recklessly was a bit risky after all. Lu Yun was running, glancing back in hope that the wolf hadn't followed him. But to his disappointment, the black wolf had marked Lu Yun as its prey and had no intention of giving up. It was in hot pursuit. Luckily, the number of wolves didn't increase from the start. There was only one wolf, probably because it saw the young Lu Yun and didn't take him seriously. B0XO, Calm the black wolf, which frequently hunted in the mountains and had strong limbs, ran effortlessly through the forest. With each leap it covered tens of feet, quickly closing the distance between itself and Lu Yun. At this rate, it won't be long before it catches up. I need to find a solution. Hearing the footsteps and heavy panting drawing nearer, Lu Yun's face grew more solemn. At the same time, his mind was working quickly, trying to find a solution to the crisis. If my saber technique were to reach a small achievement, perhaps I would stand a chance to fight. Lu Yun was deep in thought. As the wolf drew increasingly closer, the crisis became more imminent, and Lu Yun finally stopped hesitating. Add some points to the breaking wind saber technique. Lu Yun murmured quietly to himself. As soon as his words fell, a ghost-like panel immediately appeared in his field of vision. Breaking wind saber technique. Entry level 50%. Energy points 1, 3. The progress of breaking wind saber technique's cultivation suddenly increased to 50%. This represented an increase of 30% in progress. With 1 point, the speed was not slow, but it was still far from reaching small achievement. Keep adding points. As soon as he finished speaking, the 2 lines on the panel shimmered, then restored to their original state. Breaking wind saber technique. Entry level 80%. Energy points 0, 3. It's not enough, still some distance from reaching a small achievement. Lu Yun bit his lip, then put the blood ginseng he just obtained into his mouth and gulped it down. Very soon, he saw the energy points skyrocketing. Energy points plus 0. 5. Energy points plus 0. 3. Energy points plus 0. 2. Energy points plus 0. 1. About half a moment later, the blood ginseng was completely consumed. At this point, the energy points broke through an unprecedented barrier, reaching 5. 1. The moment he felt a chill creeping up behind him, his hair stood on end in shock. He immediately made a roll to the left and hid in the tall grass. The black wolf missed its attack and showed no frustration. It stood back up and closely chased after Lu Yun, showing extreme patience. In its eyes, Lu Yun had become a lamb ready for slaughter, unable to escape its claws. The moment Lu Yun's energy was wasted and his combat strength decreased was the moment it would launch another vicious attack. Time passed second by second. Add points. Just then, Lu Yun felt a tingling sensation wash over his body, like ants crawling all over him, which was both ticklish and unbearable. Following that, he felt a warm current surging from his heart. It clashed with the previous tingling sensation, quickly gained the upper hand, and a feeling of comfort surged throughout his body. Lu Yun also found that his fatigue from running for a long time had instantly eased, and his speed had also taken a step up. Breaking wind saber technique. Small achievement, 2%. Energy points. For 1, his eyes landed on the transparent virtual panel that appeared again. Seeing the breaking wind saber technique that had finally reached the small achievement stage, he allowed a hint of a smile to come across his face. The brave man wins when met on a narrow path. It's my turn to make a move. Lu Yun abruptly stopped and turned around, surprising the pursuing black wolf, causing it to stumble and stop. But soon, a trace of brightness flashed in its narrow eyes. Though it wasn't spiritually awakened, its wisdom was comparable to that of adult men. Long-term hunting had led it to a conclusion. The prey no longer intended to escape, but was getting ready to fight desperately. However, it didn't let that bother it. The human had been running for so long and was undoubtedly exhausted. Giving the black wolf deep and thoughtful look, sensing the being's intelligent gaze reaching him, Lu Yun took a deep breath and gripped the handle of his blade tightly. By this point, The black wolf had finished its final assessment. Its limbs and belly muscles started to contract. Then, an eruption of power transformed it into a black shadow that threw itself forward. Lu Yun, solemn and standing, loosened his grip on the handle, dramatically pulling out the long blade from his waist. The moves and keys of the breaking wind saber technique echoed in his mind. The breaking wind saber technique's first move, sweeping thousands of armies. Thud, blood splattered. The black wolf let out a yell as it fell, trying to struggle to its feet. However, its left limb has been cut off, and blood gushed out from its abdomen. It could only squirm where it fell. Its eyes held a rather human-like look, like it was begging for mercy. Lu Yun's face showed a cruel look as he exerted force again. A head rolled high into the air. It's dead. Lu Yun's tense nerves finally relaxed. Glancing at the corpse at his feet, he suddenly felt that wolves weren't so terrifying. It only took a stroke or two to deal with them. However, he promptly shook his head. Compared to the brutal rule of nature in the forest, the rule of nature in the human world is even more terrifying. Maybe one moment you're the bottom of the food chain, but who knows when you might turn into a fearsome tiger. You can't be careless. Besides, now I'm just a powerless youth. I can't even be considered a martial artist. Lu Yun brought his blade down again, splitting the wolf carcass into two. This is technically my first prey. I can't waste it. Immediately, Lu Yun sheathed his blade, hoisted half the carcass onto his shoulder, and quickly left. Although he successfully killed the black wolf, Lu Yun did not forget that he was currently in the Cloud Dream Mountain, surrounded by potentially many more beasts, including large predators like wolves and leopards. Moreover, the area he was in was drenched in the smell of blood, which could potentially attract terrifying beasts. Without any further delay, Lu Yun quickly disappeared from the spot. Sure enough, he had just left when sounds began to rustle from the direction he had come from, followed by reverberating howls. The howls of wolves. Judging by the sound, there were at least 10 wolves. Lu Yun was grateful that he ran fast. Otherwise, if he were to fall into a wolf pack, he will not be able to break free, even if his saber technique reaches great accomplishment. Lu Yun, whose strength had once again surged, was carrying half of a wolf carcass, but his speed wasn't much slower than when he first entered the mountain. By the creek, the women and young girls who were washing clothes suddenly saw a figure emerging from the dense jungle and gradually coming into their line of sight. "Hey, Lu girl, isn't that your brother Lu Yun?" "It really is, but how come he's come out of the Cloud Dream Mountain, and he's even carrying the carcass of a wild animal?" "My Xiao Yun's health isn't good. He couldn't possibly be." Lu Yu paused her action and looked up. Her voice abruptly halted when she saw. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Participating in the training camp. Chapter 5. Participating in the training camp. "Xiao Yun, have you mastered the basics of the saber technique?" During dinner, the long silent Lu, he asked seriously. Now he has finally accepted the fact that Lu Yun had entered the Cloud Dream Mountain and brought back half a wolf carcass. At first, when Lu Yu told him, he couldn't believe it. In his view, Lu Yun had only been training in the saber technique for less than half a month, and he was inherently deficient. It was impossible for him to achieve anything in martial arts. However, seeing that wolf carcass, he could hardly doubt it anymore. "I may be talented. I trained and reached the entry level, and even my body has recovered." Lu Yun replied unhurriedly, "If we had known earlier, we should have let you study martial arts, and you wouldn't have suffered so long." B0XO. Calm after hearing that Lu Yun's body had recovered, Lu Yu was visibly happier and hurriedly added 2 pieces of meat to Lu Yun's bowl, softly saying, "But even if your body is recovered, you still shouldn't run into the Cloud Dream Mountain. It's very dangerous. What if something happens to you? What would your eldest brother and I do?" "Understood, sister." Lu Yun agreed. He didn't want his elder brother and sister to know that he was going into the mountains to find spirit herbs, else he would receive another lecture. He suddenly put down his chopsticks and said to Lu Yun, "Xiao Yun, since you've mastered the breaking wind saber technique in less than half a month, it proves that your martial arts talent is much stronger than mine. From now on, you just train well and leave the household matters to me and Xiao Yu." "All right, you'll listen to my elder brother." Lu Yun readily agreed, but in his heart, he was thinking that he could always go in secret and not let others see. It was impossible for him to train at home. Even if he himself agreed, his cheats wouldn't agree. "I finished eating. I'm going back to my room." After a brief exchange, Lu Yun returned to his room. Xiaoyun has matured a lot. After Lu Yun left, a smile gradually appeared on Lu Ye's face over the years. She had never stopped worrying about Lu Yun. Now that Lu Yun's body has recovered and he has shown a considerable talent for martial arts, she felt an unparalleled satisfaction. "Yes, Lu," he responded, looking at the empty seat in front of him, a contemplative expression on his face. "Elder brother, what are you thinking?" Noticing Lu He deep in thought, Lu Yu asked softly. "Xiaoyun's outstanding talent in martial arts should not be wasted." Lu He said, "After a while, I will discuss with the village and let him apply to the martial academy." Upon hearing this, Lu Yu nodded. She also hoped that Lu Yun could go further and have a better future. "That's it. You first check how many taels of silver we have at home. See if you can bring out 10 taels for me. I will give them to Uncle Meng later. Let him bring Xiao Yun for joint training." "All right." After finishing her meal, Lu Yu quickly took out 10 taels of silver and handed them to Lu He. Regarding the conversation between his elder brother and sister, Lu Yun was completely unaware. After returning to his room, he crashed onto the bed and soon fell asleep. The next day, at breakfast, Lu He stopped Lu Yun and said, "Starting from today, you will join the other children in the village for joint martial arts training under Uncle Meng." Training together? Lu Yun was taken aback. The so-called joint training is when the appropriately aged children in Spirit Creek Village gathered together, guided by one of the strongest martial artists in the village, Uncle Meng. The children in the village, starting from 8 years old, would join the village's joint training. Due to his physical condition, Lu Yun, who even had problems walking, naturally couldn't join the training in the village. Now his body had recovered, it was normal to participate in the joint training, and he could also take advantage and see if he could learn other martial arts. Just the breaking wind saber technique alone was adequate for defense, but not enough for advancement. The training ground was located in the east of Spirit Creek Village. At this time, the sun had just risen, and more than 40 youths had already gathered. They were practicing boxing. Their punch winds howled through the air, creating a rather imposing scene. In the midst of the group, a handsome-looking youth, appearing to be around 12 or 13 years old, was practicing boxing incessantly. His skill level was clearly much higher than the others. Even the normally strict instructor, Lu Meng, couldn't help but display a rare smile. Like father, like son, Tianhu is worthy of being the team leader's son. Look at his fierce tiger fist. It is clear that he is already making small achievements. A few hunting team members commented as they made their rounds. Exactly. Tianhu is surely going to get into the martial academy in the future. Then our Spirit Creek Village will become well known. Another hunting team member suddenly added. As soon as this was said, it piqued the interest of others. The martial academy, to the people of small places like Spirit Creek Village, was an unreachable existence. Anyone coming out from inside, their strength is stronger than the strongest martial artist in Spirit Creek Village. "Hey, isn't that Xiao? Lu He, it's your day off today. Why are you here?" When they saw Lu He and Lu Yun walking over, a few members of the hunting team laughed and greeted them. I brought my brother to join the training. Lu, he casually replied. Wasn't your brother always in poor health? I'm afraid it's not good for him to learn martial arts. Lu Dahai, who had a good relationship with Lu He, spoke. His health has recovered now. There is no problem with training in martial arts. He will surpass us all soon. Lu He smiled and, leading Lu Yun, bypassed the members of the hunting team and walked towards the training ground. Uncle Meng, I've brought my brother. Uncle Meng, also known as Lu Meng, was a formidable man with a robust body and likewise one of the strongest martial artists in Spirit Creek Village. When he saw Lu He and Lu Yun coming over, he raised his hand slightly, and the youths stopped their training. Not bad compared to before. You are indeed much stronger. Lu Meng casually scanned Lu Yun, and, seeing some signs, he nodded lightly. Starting from today, you will be training with them. No early departures or tardiness allowed. Understood? Lu Meng's heavy voice sounded, rattling Lu Yun's eardrums. Understood. Lu Yun responded loudly. Very good, fall in. Lu Yun looked around and found that there were no vacant spots among the orderly youths, so he ran to the last row. Shortly after, a few more youths arrived at the training ground, led by their parents. After Lu Meng instructed them a couple of things, they also joined the ranks of the youths. When the sun had fully risen, Lu Meng counted the number of people, then nodded satisfactorily. If the youths are strong, then the village is strong. The future of Spirit Creek Village depends on you little ones. So, starting now, I will train you rigorously. Lu Meng grinned, revealing his big white teeth. With a wave of his hand, two burly men carried several boxes over. Take the sabers in order. When the two men put down the boxes, several sabers were revealed. Each saber was the same. There was no difference in quality. They were ordinary iron sabers, just barely usable for chopping wood. The youths made no selection, and in the quickest manner, after selecting a saber, each returned to his spot. Good, your spirits are high. Lu Meng gave the crowd a satisfied look. Talent is made up of 99% perspiration and 1% talent. Today you will practice the first move of the breaking wind saber technique 100 times. Begin. At Lu Meng's command, dozens of youths simultaneously started practicing the first move of the breaking wind saber technique, sweeping thousands of armies. For a while, the sound of sabers filled the air. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. First hearing about martial arts realm. Chapter 6. First hearing about martial arts realm. Put some effort into it. Lu Meng did not stand still but walked slowly, carefully observing the actions of the teenagers. Lu Xiaolin, did you not eat today? There's no sign of strength. Lu Deong, I think you should change your name. Your power doesn't match the brave and fierce at all. Lu Finiu, I'm talking about you. Focus your attention, use your strength throughout your body. If you want to make progress in the breaking wind blade technique, you have to practice it thousands of times. Lu Meng would scold those who were not serious or not using their strength and correct them. Whether they were good or not good at practicing, everyone was afraid of being stared at by Lu Meng. They all became more careful and cautious. Be 0XO. Come, Lu Tianhu, your movements are very standard. Your saber swings have strength. Good job. Keep going. The young man named Lu Tianhu didn't seem particularly excited from Lu Meng's praise. On the contrary, his face was extremely calm, as if he deserved the praise. Indeed, ever since he was a child, all he got was praise and affirmation. If it weren't for his dad giving him private lessons, he wouldn't be much better than us, one of the teenagers muttered darkly. This teenager Lu Yun knew. He was one of the village youngsters who was second only to Lu Tianhu in terms of talent and strength, named Lu Liangpeng. Compared to Lu Tianhu, whose father was the captain of a hunting team, Lu Liangpeng's family background was much more humble. Lu Liangpeng, there is some progress compared to last time. At this time, Lu Meng's attention finally fell on Lu Liangpeng and praised him generously. Children are like this. When they should be praised, praise them, scold them when they should be scolded. Lu Meng thought that he understood this very well. As expected, after hearing Lu Meng's praise, Lu Liangpeng stood a little straighter, and his saber swings became even more forceful. Seeing the positive effect, Lu Meng nodded slightly, quickly swept over Lu Liangpeng, and began instruction for the next person. As a teacher, what he should do is share his teaching equally with everyone. In this way, his gaze finally fell on Lu Yun. When it came to Lu Yun, he knew about him. Due to innate reasons, his body had always been weak, and it was only by relying on Lu He that he could survive until now. Yesterday, Lu He suddenly found him and asked to add Lu Yun's name to the training list, which surprised him. Today, upon seeing that Lu Yun's body had indeed recovered and even become more robust, he looked much like a boy of about 12 or 13 years old. Feeling Lu Meng approaching, Lu Yun's heart did not waver, and he continued to practice the breaking wind saber technique without distraction. Lu Meng walked closer and stood next to Lu Yun, trying to find some shortcomings or faults in him. However, he stood there for a while without noticing any flaws in him, which surprised him somewhat. Yesterday, Lu He told me that this kid had reached the entry level in less than a month of practicing the breaking wind saber technique. It seems like it's true. Lu Meng examined Lu Yun, secretly admiring him. At this time, Lu Yun's saber technique flowed smoothly, with both speed and power. Compared to the others, his progress was apparent, and Lu Meng nodded repeatedly. Gradually, the power of some teenagers' saber swings weakened, and they began to look weak and powerless. Lu Meng did not scold them anymore. None of the young people could truly complete practicing the first move of the breaking wind saber technique, sweeping thousands of armies. Even the currently best-performing Lu Qianhu was no exception. As expected, it didn't take long before one teenager after another reached their limit. Lu Liangpeng couldn't go on after practicing for the 45th time, completely exhausted. Lu Qianhu was slightly better, barely persisting until the 59th time. Although it's quite far from practicing 100 times, everyone's progress is pretty good. Today's training ends here. Lu Meng declared loudly. Hearing these words, the youngsters from Spirit Creek Village cheered and laid down their long sabers, collapsing to the ground. For the next hour, if you have any questions or doubts, you can ask me. Uncle Meng, I've been at the small achievement level in saber technique for 3 months, but I can't reach the great accomplishment level. Is there any trick or method? Lu Mingpeng asked first, seizing the opportunity. Your understanding of the breaking wind saber technique is fundamentally correct, and you practice diligently. However, there is a vast gap between small achievement and great accomplishment. To reach the great accomplishment level of the technique, your speed and power are still lacking. The reason I ask you to practice the breaking wind saber technique 100 times every day is not to torture you, but to help you reach a level where you can easily complete the task, making great accomplishment naturally within reach. Lu Meng's answer not only darkened Lu Mingpeng's face, but also induced a sigh from the other teenagers. According to their current progress, they might need more than half a year of hard training to achieve great accomplishment. Uncle Meng, with less than 3 months left for the Martial Academy's entrance examination, is there any way for me to quickly reach the great accomplishment level? Lu Tianhu asked with eager eyes. Your speed in saber technique is barely enough, but your physical strength is not there yet. You can ask your father to prepare more beast meat for you to build up your strength quickly. Thank you for your guidance, Uncle Meng. Lu Tianhu gratefully thanked Lu Meng. Does anyone else have any doubts? Lu Meng's gaze fell back on Lu Yun, scrutinizing him. Uncle Meng. Lu Yun forced himself to stand up. Lu Meng squinted his eyes. I see that your breaking wind saber technique is not just at the entry level. Have you already reached a small achievement? I just broke through, and Uncle Meng already found out. Lu Yun gave an embarrassed smile, which matched his childish face perfectly, and didn't feel out of place at all. After getting confirmation from Lu Yun, Lu Meng didn't show any particular reaction, but the other teenagers were shocked. Although they had already accepted that Lu Yun, once a sickly weakling, had recovered and joined the training team, they were greatly surprised that he had already reached the small achievement level in the saber technique. Among all the teenagers, fewer than 10 people could practice the breaking wind saber technique to a small achievement. Moreover, those people had been practicing for at least several years. Less than half a month, and you've achieved a small accomplishment in breaking wind blade technique. It looks like a great figure will emerge from Spirit Creek Village in the future. The more Lu Meng looked at Lu Yun, the more satisfied he felt. Lu Yun, do you have any questions for me? It can be about martial arts or any other area. Feel free to ask. Lu Meng smiled. He really wanted to open the door of convenience for a true genius like Lu Yun. Lu Yun could see Lu Meng's appreciation for him, and since he had questions in his mind, he asked, Uncle Meng, I would like to know about the divisions of martial arts realm. You're actually asking this question. Lu Meng glanced at Lu Yun and nodded. It's normal for you to ask this question, since this is your first time participating in the group training. The first realm of martial arts is called Entering Martial Realm, which is further divided into 4 stages. Early stage, middle stage, late stage, and perfection, corresponding to strength, burst, resistance, and speed. Once your strength, explosive power, resistance to impact, and speed reach a certain level, you can enter the next realm, Meridian Passage Realm. As for realms beyond the Meridian Passage Realm, you will know them once you become a martial artist. It is not beneficial for you to know them now. It's probably because they're afraid it will hurt some people's confidence. Lu Yun speculated quietly, continuing to ask, Uncle Meng, how can we advance to the entering martial realm and become martial artists? Lu Meng grinned. It's simple. As long as you practice any third-rate martial art to perfection, you can become a martial artist. Chapter 7, Chapter 7, Promotion of Martial Artist, Panel Update. Chapter 7, Promotion of Martial Artist, Panel Update. To become a martial artist, one must at least cultivate a third-rate martial art to the state of perfection. I am only in the stage of small achievements, and there is still a long way to go. In the bathtub, Lu Yun soaked in it, washing away the sweat and fatigue from his body. Today's training was really tiring, and it made him aware of the martial arts situation among the younger generation of Spirit Creek Village. At the same time, it also made him realize the differences between himself and his peers. Others took years to practice a third-rate martial art to small achievements, while he was able to achieve this in just a dozen days, which proved the difference between a genius and an average person. Breaking wind saber technique. Small achievement, 4%. Energy points, 4. 1 after taking a bath, Lu Yun opened the attribute panel and saw that his saber technique had improved by 1 point, making him feel even more refreshed. B0XO. Even without energy points, I can still feel my progress every day. Considering this, my innate talent is not bad, and can even be said to be excellent. For the next few days, Lu Yun's life was peaceful and fulfilling. He practiced the breaking wind saber technique in the morning and evening, making progress of 1% to 2% every day, and his Boda's speed and strength were also slowly increasing. In addition, he ate a lot of meat to help his body grow, making him look more refined and strong compared to the other teenagers who practiced martial arts alongside him, giving off a sense of competence and sturdiness. What surprised Lu Yun even more was that as his physical fitness and breaking wind saber technique improved, he felt a warm force emanating from his heart, which extended to various parts of his body. It didn't greatly increase his strength, but significantly improved his endurance. After just 2 months, he could practice the saber technique more than 80 times before feeling tired. It was spring again, and the vast Cloud Dream mountain range was filled with endless greenery, buzzing with life. At the foot of Cloud Dream Mountain, a small village, Spirit Creek Village, was full of rising smoke and harmonious atmosphere. In a small grove outside the village, Lu Yun was practicing the breaking wind saber technique. Whiff, whiff, whiff. Lu Yun held a long saber in his hand, with the blade cutting through the air, slashing down, sideways, and upwards. Each slash was accompanied by the sound of the wind. After practicing the breaking wind saber technique for several months, he had mastered the saber technique to perfection. The only thing limiting his mastery was his physical strength. But after today, this limitation would no longer exist. Suddenly, the saber technique in Lu Yun's hand seemed to have entered another level as a violent wind surged around him, and sharper sword lights began to appear like waves rising and falling. Next, a warm current flowed from his heart to his whole body, and a powerful aura emanated from him. Lu Yun, holding the saber, looked as if he had ascended and became even more intimidating. I finally made a breakthrough in my breaking wind saber technique. Feeling his own strength, Lu Yun couldn't help but reveal a slight smile. From small achievement to great accomplishment, it took him nearly 3 months of hard work to progress without the help of any extra points. Breaking wind saber technique. Great accomplishment, 1%. Energy points, 10-9. Upon opening the attribute panel, Lu Yun saw his great accomplishment in the breaking wind saber technique and the impressive energy value of 10-9, which filled him with excitement. It's time for these energy points that I've accumulated to come into play. Today, let's boost the breaking wind saber technique to the state of perfection in one go. As he thought about it, he improved his saber technique. With the experience of upgrading a few times, Lu Yun had become adept at the changes in his body and other reactions that came along when upgrading his martial arts. Soon, 1 energy point was consumed, and the great accomplishment of the breaking wind saber technique improved by 10%. This was within his expectations. The higher the level of the breaking wind saber technique, the more energy points required for consumption. Without hesitation, he continued to upgrade. After nearly half an incense stick's worth of time, Lu Yun's body shook violently, and a strong vitality arose, then quickly vanished from his body. Breaking wind saber technique. Great accomplishment, 91%. Energy points, 1-9. It's almost perfect. Looking at the information on the panel, Lu Yun showed a smile, and his heart was filled with excitement. He was getting closer and closer to becoming a martial artist. Success or failure depends on this moment. I shall keep upgrading. Although Lu Yun was already very close to being a martial artist, he did not stop there, but continued to upgrade. He converged his mind and continued to upgrade. Boom. As soon as the thought fell, an energy point disappeared in an instant. Following that, an overwhelmingly strong force rose from his body and surged throughout his body. His blood was boiling. His bones trembled. His strength was surging. At this moment, Lu Yun felt as if his entire body had undergone a metamorphosis, and he seemed to have inexhaustible strength and endless power. His spirit was also extremely excited. This upgrade was different from the previous times, as it was a leap of improvement and a complete transformation. The changes continued, and vitality surged throughout his body, giving birth to a warm breath at his dantian. Like strands of hair, it flowed throughout his body, tempering his bones and refining his flesh. During this process, his vitality gradually strengthened, and his strength slowly increased, but it was an insignificant increase that ordinary people could hardly notice. I had become a martial artist. Lu Yun, waking up from the breakthrough state, opened his attribute panel right away. Name: Lu Yun Influence, Spirit Creek Village, Martial Arts, Breaking Wind Saber Technique, Perfect, Non-Upgradable, Innate Talent, Level 4 Martial Arts, Enter Martial Realm Early Stage, Energy Points, 0, 9, Lu Yun looked at the updated panel and felt a shock in his heart. In the beginning, the panel was simple and crude, showing only martial arts and energy points. Now, not only were there name and influence, but also innate talent and martial realm added. What surprised Lu Yun was the innate talent. A level 4 innate talent. I don't know if it's considered genius or not. You'll have to ask Uncle Meng sometime. Soon, Lu Yun's gaze fell on the martial arts section. Compared to innate talent, the words "Enter Martial Realm Early Stage" made him even more excited. Even though everything had been expected, there were over 1,000 people in Spirit Creek Village, but less than 50 of them could become martial artists. In other words, Lu Yun was now among the strongest few in Spirit Creek Village. 3 months ago, he was a defectively weak person, but now he had become a powerful martial artist, which was a huge leap. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't happy about such a transformation, but he also understood that becoming a martial artist was just the beginning. Uncle Meng said that the first realm of martial arts is the Enter Martial Realm, which is divided into 4 stages: early, middle, late, and perfect, corresponding to the phases of strength, burst, counterimpact, and speed. My strength is still growing, far from reaching the limit, so I should be at the early stage of the Enter Martial Realm. Moreover, without further martial arts to study, it's impossible to upgrade. It seems that I need to plan for entering the Martial Academy. Lu Yun's smile faded, and he fell into deep thought. Chapter 8, Chapter 8, Medicinal Bath, Improving Innate Talent. Chapter 8, Medicinal Bath, Improving Innate Talent. Is Lu Yun at home? One day, after Lu Yun finished a day of cultivation and had bathed and changed clothes, a rough voice came from outside the door. Who could it be? Lu Yun frowned and walked out of the room, only to find a muscular middle-aged man waiting outside. Uncle Yoxiong? This man was the deputy village chief of Spirit Creek Village, Lu Yoxiong, whose strength was even greater than that of Lu Meng and the hunting team leader, only second to the village head. Uncle Yoxiong, what do you want to see me for? Asked Lu Yun curiously. Hee, you lucky boy, follow me quickly, Lu Yoxiong said, grabbing Lu Yun's arm and dragging him away like picking up a little chicken. B0XO. Calm bonfires were flickering, and Spirit Creek Village seemed lively. Adults, children, men, and women all had smiles on their faces, and the village was full of laughter. Little guys, don't run around. After the medicinal bath, your martial arts will soon achieve great accomplishment, an old man said with a smile. No, I don't want to be boiled. A group of children heard that they were going to be put into a bronze cauldron, and their faces turned pale as they cried and tried to escape. However, they couldn't outrun the adults' clutches and were easily caught and brought back. You ungrateful brats! This medicinal bath is a rare opportunity that the village has paid a great price for, and ordinary people don't even have a chance, the adults said, laughing and scolding after catching the children. I'm scared. I don't want a medicinal bath. Can I give my chance to someone else? No way. Only those who have achieved small accomplishment in breaking wind saber technique or fierce tiger fist can enjoy the medicinal bath. Others don't have this treatment, one of the old men scolded. Lu Yun obediently followed Lu Yoxiong without resistance and watched the scene with curiosity. At this moment, he saw another scenario. On the other side of the open space, 9 bronze cauldrons had been set up with raging flames burning beneath them. The water in the cauldrons was boiling and bubbling, with medicinal herbs floating on the surface. There was a middle-aged man standing beside each cauldron, each holding a bucket of beast blood, their gazes all focused on the old figure in the middle. Because this old figure was none other than the village head of Spirit Creek Village, and the town's top martial artist, Lu Songxing. Get ready, pour the beast blood into the cauldrons. At Lu Kangsheng's command, the 9 strong men simultaneously poured the beast blood from the wooden barrels into the cauldrons. The moment the dark red blood was added to the cauldron, the originally clear medicinal liquid instantly became murky, slowing down the boiling process. Increase the heat. Lu Songxing shouted again, and the strong men hurriedly put prearranged firewood, making the flames blaze, and the medicinal liquid in the cauldrons started boiling again. Looking at the bubbling medicinal liquid in the cauldrons, a group of teenagers turned pale and struggled to escape, but they were tightly held down by a pair of big hands. You cowards, look at Lu Yun and Lu Qianhu. Learn from them. Lu Meng scolded the teenagers as the valuable medicinal herbs in the cauldrons had been found by the hunting team members deep in Cloud Dream Mountain. They could enhance a martial artist's physique, and when children used them, they could strengthen their foundations, greatly benefiting their future martial arts path. Later, the added beast blood was obtained by the old village head, who went deep into Cloud Dream Mountain and made a great effort to kill a Meridian Passage realm flood snake to get such much. Spirit Creek Village had pulled all their resources to hold this medicinal bath, not only to lay a solid foundation for the young generation, but also to prepare for the upcoming Martial Academy recruitment. If Spirit Creek Village had 1 or 2 young people who entered the Martial Academy, it would be an unparalleled honor. However, entering the Martial Academy wasn't that simple. In addition to having excellent comprehension, one needed to pass the Academy's assessment. Until now, none of the young people in Spirit Creek Village had mastered a third-rate martial art, which made village head Lu Songxing and other village officials headache, leading to this medicinal bath. Because many things were required for the medicinal bath, even with Spirit Creek Village's resources, it took several years to hold a small-scale medicinal bath. The targets of the medicinal bath were, of course, potential-filled youngsters, those who had cultivated their martial arts to a small accomplishment realm were considered to have great potential. Once the fire was extinguished and the water in the cauldron had cooled down from boiling, wailing, and splashing sounds rang out one after another. I'm going to die. I'm cooked through. I'm all cooked. Save me. In the bronze cauldrons, several young boys gritted their teeth and grimaced in pain, constantly crying out. However, the adults watched them coldly, showing no sympathy. Of course, not all children were disappointing. Lu Qianhu and Lu Liangpeng, though showing pain on their faces, gritted their teeth and persevered, sweating profusely but never making a sound from beginning to end. As for Lu Yun, he was cooperating even better because he had already advanced to a martial artist. With the transformation of his physical quality, his endurance had increased significantly, so he did not feel the heart-wrenching pain that others experienced. Furthermore, Lu Yun noticed that with the passage of time, the viscosity of the medicinal liquid in his cauldron became thinner and clearer from its initial turbidity. The old village head, who was constantly monitoring the changes in the bronze cauldrons, saw this development and instructed another member of staff to add fire before taking out 2 more jars to pour into the cauldron containing Lu Yun. Seeing the big fire rising again under Lu Yun's cauldron, the other youngsters showed sympathetic expressions, suddenly feeling grateful that they only had to endure the pain and torture once. As for some adults, they couldn't help but cast admiring glances at Lu Yun's performance. A youngster who could complete a medicinal bath was considered to have an impressive innate talent and would definitely become a martial artist in the future. Lu Yun, However, not only bore the pain of the medicinal bath, but also absorbed the liquid inside his cauldron in a very short time, prompting the village head to hold a second medicinal bath. This was truly extraordinary talent. At the same time, they couldn't help but worry about this. The second medicinal bath, coupled with the 2 different types of beast blood added by the old village head, was not something that ordinary people could withstand, let alone a boy like Lu Yun, who was not even 11 years old yet. You don't have to worry. Little Lu Yun has an extremely strong constitution and can bear it. Moreover, this medicinal bath will be of great help to him, old village head Lu Tsongxing said, stroking his beard. In less than half a month, the young lad has cultivated the breaking wind saber technique to a small achievement realm. After this medicinal bath, he will definitely step into the great accomplishment realm, and by then he will have a great chance of entering the martial academy, Lu Meng said with admiration as he watched Lu Yun's persistence inside the bronze cauldron. Finally, our Spirit Creek village has produced a genius, a burly man also sighed. The medicinal bath lasted for a long time, and the youngsters were soaked until they looked like red monkeys. Unable to bear it any longer, they were eventually pulled out by the adults. After coming out, they all looked miserable and with tearful eyes. It was as if they had been tormented by unbearable pain. As for Lu Tianhu and Lu Liangpeng, they wore joyful expressions on their faces, secretly feeling the surge of power within them. The effects are very good. After thoroughly absorbing the medicinal properties, both of them will be able to step into a great accomplishment realm in martial arts. Lu Tsongxing whispered to several other elders, nodding in satisfaction. On the side, Lu Yun quietly summoned his attribute panel. Name, Lu Yun Force, Spirit Creek Village, Martial Arts, Breaking Wind Saber Technique, Perfection cannot be promoted. Innate Talent, Level 5 Martial Arts, Enter Martial Realm Early Stage. Energy Points, 0. 9. Chapter 9, Chapter 9, The New Martial Art, Mix Origin Technique. 9 Chapter 9, The New Martial Art, Mix Origin Technique, Spirit Creek Village, at the home of the old village head. Xiaoyun, Tianhu Liangpeng. Old village head Lu Tsongxing had a beaming expression. Lu Yun, Lu Tianhu, and Lu Liangpeng had shown exemplary performance during this medicinal bath. Especially Lu Yun, who had undergone 2 whole medicinal baths, showed extraordinary talent that filled Lu Kangsheng's heart with joy. Spirit Creek Village finally had a real prodigy. Xiaoyun, I want to ask you, have you become a formal martial artist? Lu Tsongxing curiously asked. Lu Yun blinked his eyes. He didn't expect the old village head to ask this question. How could he tell that he had advanced to become a martial artist? Village head Grandpa, I don't really know what happened, but I feel that I have a knack for martial arts. I practiced wholeheartedly, and then I achieved the great accomplishment of breaking wind saber technique. B0XO. Calm although unexpected, Lu Yun had prepared his response beforehand and was ready to attribute all his successes to his innate talent if anyone asked. Such an answer yielded safety, and now that his innate talent had risen, becoming a level 5 talent, he was technically not lying. Seems like Xiaoyun's innate talent is truly amazing. It's a pity that we don't have the means to examine innate talents here. Otherwise, we would have known what level of innate talent you possess. Lu Tsongxing expressed slight regret, but it faded soon. Whenever he thought about the fact that Lu Yun had become a martial artist with just 3 months of training, his expectations for Lu Yun's future would magnify. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianhu, standing not far from them, looked at Lu Yun with complex emotions in their eyes. In the past, they were the most outstanding individuals among the younger generation of Spirit Creek Village and never looked down on anyone else. But now, they were still 1 step away from achieving the great accomplishment in their 3rd-class martial arts. And Lu Yun, on the other hand, had become a martial artist, This was beyond doubt a massive irony. Innate talent. Lu Yun rejoiced in his heart. He originally intended to find an opportunity to inquire about innate talents. Now that the old village head had brought it up, he naturally wouldn't miss the opportunity to ask, "Village head grandpa, how can one detect their innate talent? And how can one determine whether their innate talent is good or bad?" Old village head Lu Sangxing paused for a while before slowly saying, "To test innate talents, you'd either need a specialized tool or an extremely high martial arts cultivation realm. You'll find out once you participate in the Martial Academy assessments." Innate talents range from 1 star to 9 star. 1 star denotes the poorest innate talent. Those individuals can barely achieve to become a martial artist in their lifetime, while those with 9-star innate talent are the best. Once found, these individuals will be highly sought after by numerous top-ranked sects and formidable forces. However, I have never seen a 9-star innate talent, and I have no idea what kind of character they could be. Old village head Lu Sangxing subconsciously showed a look of yearning. "Village head grandpa, how many stars do you have?" At this moment, Lu Tianhu suddenly asked, "Haha, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it." Lu Sangxing obviously didn't want to dwell on this topic. "Tianhu, Liangpeng, you both should return and fully absorb the gains from today's medicinal bath to achieve the great accomplishment. As for Xiaoyun, since you've already become a martial artist and wish to further increase your strength, you'll need to learn a new martial art. It'll accompany you to the village's talent building for you to choose an appropriate martial art." Lu Sangxing rose and headed outside. Lu Yun was immediately delighted, as he currently lacked a subsequent martial art, and he had only practiced the breaking wind saber technique so far. Thus his defensive capabilities were deficient. In addition, he lacked a proper sword, which resulted in compromises on his strength. Now that he had an opportunity to select a new martial art, he was naturally ecstatic. Talent building is actually an isolated 2-story pagoda located in Lu Kangsheng's backyard. It wasn't guarded by anyone. With Lu Sangxing, the first martial artist of Spirit Creek Village, there was no need for anyone to keep watch. The first floor is full of some third-class and unsuccessful martial arts mainly used for laying the foundation, such as the breaking wind saber technique, fierce tiger fist, and so on. Since you are already an Enter Martial Realm practitioner, you don't need to look at these martial arts. I will take you directly to the second floor. Lu Sangxing took Lu Yun and walked up the staircase. The second floor of the talent building only had a large room where 2 rows of bookshelves were arranged. One of the bookshelves was empty, while the other bookshelf held a dozen or so booklets scattered sparsely. Lu Sangxing walked forward and skillfully pulled out 3 booklets from the shelves, laying them on the table. These 3 are all second-class martial arts. Any one of them can help you pass through the Enter Martial Realm stage and advance to the next martial arts realm, the Meridian Passage Realm. Lu Yun picked up the booklets and immediately began flipping them open. The bullish strength can refine bones and flesh. Achieving perfection gives you strength worth 1,000 pounds and provides strong explosive power when facing enemies. Body enhancement training, refining your body, laying down the basic martial arts. Upon perfection, your physical body will automatically open the first meridian, giving birth to true qi. Mixed origin technique primarily develops physical potential, providing a comprehensive enhancement of physical strength, speed, stamina. It is a steady type of martial art, but its disadvantage is that it is high difficulty and relatively slow to improve. After having glanced over all 3 martial arts books, Lu Sangxing laughed. Of all the martial arts in the talent building, these are the 3 most advanced. How about it? Which one are you favoring? Village head grandpa, can I choose all 3? Lu Yun scratched his head in embarrassment. "You rascal!" Lu Sangxing chided jokingly. "Even though your talent is quite good, You must understand that a person's energy is limited. Being able to achieve perfection in any one of them would be quite an achievement. Moreover, these three martial arts have different ways to reach the same result. Even if you could ensure that all three are practiced to perfection in a short time, it will not contribute greatly to your strength growth. It will only be a waste of time. Ah, I see. After hearing this, Lu Yun understood and further asked, Village head grandpa, if I practice the body enhancement training to perfection, not only will my physical strength increase greatly, but my meridians will also open and true qi will spontaneously form. Does it mean that among these three martial arts, body enhancement training is the strongest? Lu Songxing first shook his head, then nodded, leaving Lu Yun in confusion. After a long pause, Lu Songxing explained, the intermartial realm can be considered as a foundational stage where the body is continuously refined and the flesh tempered to increase physique, enhance qi and blood, laying the foundation for the subsequent opening of meridians and the condensation of true qi. Body enhancement training indeed can help you to open the meridians in advance and give birth to true qi, but the methods of enhancing qi and blood, as well as promoting bodily potential, are quite overbearing, and relatively speaking, it's not as good as bullish strength. If you had mediocre innate talent, body enhancement training would be a good choice, as it would help you advance into meridian passage realm more easily. But since you have extraordinary martial arts talent and a high chance of entering the martial academy, I would recommend you to choose the mixed origin technique. It is comparatively balanced and can enhance all aspects without any glaring weaknesses compared with other martial arts. Is that so? Having heard this, Lu Yun made up his mind. Village head grandpa, then I'll choose the mixed origin technique. You've got potential. Seeing Lu Yun made the right choice, a smile appeared on Lu Kangsheng's old face. His wrinkled face was like a blooming chrysanthemum. The second-class martial arts like this one are few and far between in the village. Memorize the contents inside as soon as possible, and then return it. As he handed the mixed origin technique to Lu Yun, Lu Songxing wore an extremely serious expression. Lu Yun nodded, holding the obtained booklet tightly. He didn't need Lu Songxing to explain the importance of the martial art enclosed within. After all, the entire talent building only housed a dozen or so second-class martial arts. These were the most precious resources of Spirit Creek Village. Chapter 10, Chapter 10, Setting Off, Seeking Collections and Recommendations. Chapter 10, Setting Off, Seeking Collections and Recommendations. Returning home, Lu He and Lu Yu eagerly approached to inquire about Lu Yun's strength. Lu Yun rehashed the explanation he gave to the old village head, then returned to his room and closed the door. He broke through while practicing, and even became a martial artist. Lu He was dumbfounded, stunned by Lu Yun's words. I remember that he said last time that he broke through while practicing, and it's the same this time. Lu Yu awkwardly said. Lu He shook his head, feeling obviously defeated. Xiaoyan has excellent martial arts talent, which is great for our family and the village. We should be happy. Lu Yu comforted him. Yes, we should be happy. Lu He tried hard to squeeze out a smile. B0XO. Calm in his room, Lu Yun flipped through the Mixed Origin Technique Manual, which detailed how to use the heaven and earth's energy to temper oneself, stimulate physical potential, strengthen vitality, and enhance physical strength and burst power. It took Lu Yun an hour to memorize the content, and then he called out his panel with a thought. Name: Lu Yun Force, Spirit Creek Village. Martial arts, breaking wind saber technique, perfection, not upgradable, mixed origin technique, pre-entry, not upgradable, innate talent. Level 5 martial arts, enter martial realm early stage, energy points. 0. 9. If one does not record their martial arts techniques, they won't appear on the panel. Now, the mixed origin technique appeared on the panel, proving that Lu Yun had fully memorized it. Since all energy points were used to enhance the breaking wind saber technique, Lu Yun couldn't take shortcuts. However, not being able to use energy points to improve martial arts does not mean one should waste their days away. Lu Yun's innate talent was now level 5, which was considered good, and he believed that even with his own hard work, he could improve his martial arts. Time always flies when one is practicing diligently. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. During this time, Lu Yun practiced and accumulated energy points without neglecting either. Meanwhile, as he practiced, his reputation as a genius gradually spread throughout Spirit Creek Village. Lu Yun, of course, didn't pay much attention to this. In Lu Yun's view, only improving his own strength was the truly important task at hand. Ding dong! One day, the entrance gate was knocked on. Lu Yun opened the door and saw Lu Yoxiong standing outside. Uncle Yoxiong. Lu Yun's face broke into a sunny smile. Lu Yoxiong kindly nodded, his eyes full of anticipation as he said, I heard that you chose the mix origin technique from the talent building last time. Have you reached the entry level yet? I just reached entry level. Lu Yun's eyes flickered, revealing a brilliant smile. Over the past month, he had achieved rapid progress through day and night hard work. So it wasn't as simple as just reaching entry level. However, to avoid causing a commotion, he didn't tell the truth. Haha, I knew you could do it. Lu Yoxiong waved his strong right hand and slapped Lu Yun's shoulder. Laughing, you're the first in Spirit Creek Village to reach entry level with the mix origin technique, and you did it in just 1 month. The future is boundless. Lu Yun awkwardly touched his nose and silently checked the progress of his mix origin technique. Mix origin technique. Small achievement 3%. Not upgradable. Energy points 0. One having reached small achievement in the mix origin technique in just 1 month was something no one else could have anticipated. Although he used some energy points, he didn't gain too many during this month, and the improvement of the mix origin technique mostly relied on Lu Yun's day-by-day hard work. After exchanging a few casual words with Lu Yun, Lu Yoxiong said, There's less than half a month until the Martial Academy's assessment, so you must leave now to participate. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Qianhu are already prepared, so hurry up and get ready. I'm all packed and won't delay anyone's time. Just then, Lu Yu came out of the house with a bundle in her hand. Xiaoyan is going away, and all I can do is make a new outfit for you in my spare time. As Lu Yu handed the bundle to Lu Yun, her face showed reluctance. Ever since Lu Yun showed extraordinary martial arts talent, she knew that her younger brother didn't belong to this place or even to Cloudwater County, so she had been prepared. However, when faced with separation, she realized how reluctant she was in her heart. Sister, don't worry. When I achieve success in the martial arts, I will definitely bring you an elder brother to the city. Lu Yun solemnly declared, I believe in you, Xiaoyun. Lu Yu smiled and nodded, holding back her tears and pretending to be strong. Xiaoyun, we'll be waiting for your name to spread throughout Cloudwater County, and even in Ling Province. He laughed loudly, his eyes filled with pride as he looked at Lu Yun. Compared to Lu Ye's reluctance, he was more proud. This was his younger brother, with extraordinary martial arts talent and immeasurable future achievements. A small Spirit Creek Village could not constrain him, and Cloudwater County, or even the larger Ling Province, was his true stage. Lu Yu looked at Lu Yun with reluctance, rubbing her dress corners with her small hands, and her eyes reddened. Eldest brother, sister, I'm leaving. Lu Yun's eyes glistened with tears. Although he was reluctant at heart, he eventually had to leave. Having said that, he picked up his bundle and, carrying his saber, turned and left with Lu Yoxiong. First, they went to the village head's house, and as soon as they entered the courtyard, they saw Lu Liangpeng, Lu Qianhu, and two middle-aged men already waiting there. Lu Yun recognized one of the middle-aged men as the captain of the Spirit Creek Village hunting team, and Lu Tian his father, Lu Bingsheng. As for the other strong man, Lu Yun guessed that he should be Lu Liangpeng's father. "Is everyone here?" Quickly, the old village head, Lu Tsongxing, walked out of the house. He looked extremely old, but his eyes were sharp and piercing, giving people a powerful sense of oppression. "Village head!" Lu Yun and the others greeted him, one by one. "Bingsheng, during my absence, you must work with Yoxiong to take good care of the village." Lu Tsongxing instructed, "Don't worry, village head. I will order the hunting team to strengthen security during the day, ensuring that there is no mishap." Lu Bingsheng said, patting his chest. Lu Tsongxing nodded, looked at Lu Yun, Lu Liangpeng, and Lu Qianhu, and kindly said, "All right, let's get ready to set off." No sooner had he finished speaking than a carriage appeared outside the door, driven by a young man who was also one of the martial artists in the village. Lu Yun remembered that he was called Lu Tsong, and he had a good relationship with his eldest brother, Lu He. "Village head, get in the carriage," Lu Tsong loudly said. Quickly, they boarded the carriage, which slowly set off and drove away from Spirit Creek Village. It really is desolate. Out of Spirit Creek Village, the area became sparsely populated. The carriage traveled dozens of miles without encountering a single person. The world was chaotic, with sects hostile towards one another and conflicts between provinces. Travelers were few and far between, except those with some strength of their own. Even then, they traveled in groups, like Lu Yun and his group. Due to the old village head's presence, the atmosphere inside the carriage remained silent and oppressive. After traveling for several hours, Lu Liangpeng couldn't stand the silence and started to chat idly with Lu Yun. Of course, their conversation was limited to their daily lives in the village, and they rarely talked about each other's cultivation progress. Chapter 11, Chapter 11, Chance Encounter. 11 Chapter 11, Chance Encounter. In late spring, the sun gradually became fiery hot. On the dried grass-covered mountain trail, a carriage leisurely moved forward. Lu Tsong, who was driving, occasionally let out unpleasant singing. Lu Qianhu gradually let go of his restraint and joined in the conversation with Lu Yun. "Lu Yun, how did you recover from your illness? My father said before that, with your former condition, even normal life was difficult. How did you become a martial artist so quickly?" "You have to ask such a simple question." Lu Liangpeng spoke disdainfully. "Lu Yun became a martial artist so quickly, of course, because his talent far surpasses yours. As for the congenital deficiency, as long as the cultivation technique could make a slight breakthrough, it would improve the body." Being ridiculed by Lu Liangpeng, Lu Qianhu had no good expression. He said coldly, "It's enough that you target me in the village. In the future, if we happen to pass the assessment and enter the martial academy, we will be fellow villagers who need to help each other. I suggest you change your previous temperament." "Humph. Even so, I still won't be your companion. My companions should be people I find pleasing to look at, like Lu Yun." Lu Liangpeng completely disregarded Lu Qianhu. B0XO. Calm, seeing the two were not getting along, Lu Yun did not want to intervene. He sat in a corner and slowly opened his package to see what was inside. From the start of their journey, he had always felt that there was something heavy inside, unlike just a piece of clothing. Upon opening the package, the outermost layer was indeed a dress, dark black in color, with smooth fabric and a soft texture. Lu Yun lifted the corner of the dress and saw a bundle wrapped in linen, which felt very hard. Is this what made the package so heavy? Filled with curiosity, Lu Yun opened the linen, and a few shiny things appeared. Wow, so much silver! Lu Liangpeng happened to see the silver in Lu Yun's package. It looks like at least 50 taels. It seems your eldest brother and sister take good care of you. Lu Tianhu also commented, his face showing a hint of envy. This time, his father, the hunting team leader, had only given him 20 taels of silver. Yes, my brother and sister do take good care of me. Lu Yun nodded, wrapped the silver back in linen, and placed it in the package, holding it tightly. His heart felt warm. He knew very well that 50 taels of silver might be all the family's belongings. And now, all of it was given to him. This love weighed heavily on him. Everyone be careful and stay alert. At this time, Lu Tsang, who was driving, shouted, "There are often bandits on this mountain road." Bandits? Hearing this, both Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianhu became alert. As it was their first time traveling far from home, they were curious about the outside world and also fearful. Lu Yun also tensed his nerves, looking at the slopes on both sides of the road. He was unsure of the strength of the bandits in this world. If they were ordinary people, there would be no threat to them. If they were martial artists, that might be troublesome. As the carriage moved forward, the trees on both sides of the road gradually became more densely packed. If someone suddenly attacked from within them, it would be hard to react and respond. Be careful, there are people. At this moment, Lu Tsang pulled the reins, and the horse neighed as the carriage suddenly stopped. It turned out that, in front of the mountain road, under a big tree, there were more than a dozen figures dressed as bandits. Among them, the leader was a bald man. He wore a tattered coat, his arm muscles bulged, and his face had horizontal lines. At first glance, he looked like a practitioner with an explosive power. Behind the bald man, there were 12 or 13 men, each looking like no simple character, carrying broadswords with cold eyes staring at the carriage in front of them. One of the bandits with a folding fan spoke with a smile and in a literary manner, "This mountain belongs to me, this tree is..." Before he finished speaking, he was kicked in the butt by a man beside him, stumbled, and almost fell. Robbery is robbery. Aren't you trying to show off your capabilities by adopting a literary manner? The sneaky-looking bandit cursed, while threatening to kick the earlier bandit again. I think it's quite good. This makes us look more imposing. The leading bald man stopped him and instructed the bandit with the folding fan, "Continue with your previous words, louder, and show more spirit. There is a reward." "All right, boss." The bandit slapped the mark on his butt, reorganized his clothes, opened the folding fan, struck a pose, and looked at Lu Yun and the others, waving the fan, and said, "This mountain is mine. This tree is sown by me. If you want to pass here, leave the toll." His voice was deep and majestic, with an unspeakable confidence, seemingly in the guise of a scholar. However, paired with his rough appearance and disorderly clothing, it seemed mismatched. This scene seems familiar. Seeing this situation, Lu Yun couldn't help but remember a scene from a TV show in his previous life. It looked exactly the same. In fact, when he saw these bandits, Lu Yun's uneasiness quickly disappeared. The most powerful among these bandits was the bald leader, who looked strong and imposing, but was actually just a martial artist in the middle stage of entering the martial realm. As for the other bandits, only one or two of them were martial artists, while the rest were ordinary people. They posed no threat to Lu Yun and his companions. Of course, that was only if Old Village had Lu Tsangxing made a move. These are just some ordinary bandits without any strength. They're good practice for you. At this time, the always meditative Lu Tsangxing finally spoke. Lu Tsang looked worried. "Village head, these are desperate men. Will it be too risky for these youngsters to face them alone?" "No problem. They'll be watching from the side. There won't be any issues." Lu Tsangxing waved his hand. Seeing that the village head had made up his mind, Lu Yun, Lu Liangpeng, and Lu Tianhu exchanged glances, leaped off the carriage, and walked in front of the bandits. Lu Liangpeng spoke up first, threatening, "We are people of Spirit Creek Village, heading to the county town to participate in the Martial Academy's assessment. If you know what's good for you, get out of our way, or it'll cut off your heads." Seeing Lu Liangpeng exposing his identity like that, Lu Yun frowned, but said nothing. After all, these bandits were destined to die today. Haha, whose child is this? At such a young age, you dare to speak such wild words. The bald man rubbed his head and said to the people behind him, "Brothers, who wants to teach this brat a lesson and let him know the cruelty in people's hearts in this chaotic world?" Upon hearing this, a sneaky-looking bandit sneered and charged forward. "Boss, let me, Ma Laosen, take care of these little ones." After speaking, Ma Laosen swept his cold, sinister gaze over the three young men and menacingly stared at Lu Liangpeng. His figure moved, and his long knife came out of its sheath as he ferociously chopped it down. Chapter 12. 12. Chapter 12. Taking action. 12. Chapter 12. Taking action. Well done! The saying, "young calves are not afraid of tigers," aptly describes Lu Liangpeng. Faced with the bandits charging on horseback, he didn't retreat, but instead attacked proactively. He directly leapt forward while simultaneously drawing his blade, accomplishing both moves almost in an instant. This showed off his mastery of the breaking wind saber technique to the fullest. This little brat really does have some skills. Ma Laosen narrowly dodged an attack, looking at Lu Liangpeng with lingering fear in his heart. "I thought the horse bandits were supposed to be strong, but they're just like you, pathetic." Seeing that his opponent was nearly slain by his blade, Lu Liangpeng's confidence grew, and any remaining fear in his heart vanished. With that, he unleashed astonishing strength and speed, striking with the first move of the breaking wind saber technique, sweeping thousands of armies. The howling blade wind gave Ma Laosen no chance to respond, and he was struck down from his horse. Not good. This kid really is a practitioner, quite ferocious. Watching his men being killed by a child in just a few moves, the bald man pointed his blade menacingly and ordered, "All of you attack together and finish off these three kids." "Yes, boss." B0XO. Calm, the remaining horse bandits followed orders, urging their horses to leap and brandishing their huge cleavers as they assaulted Lu Yun and the others. Lu Yun. Lu Tianhu turned his head abruptly, saying, "Among the three of us, you are the strongest, so you have to take on more responsibility. Deal with the main forces." Lu Yun nodded solemnly, grasping the handle of the saber at his waist, ready to strike. "I'll handle the three in front." Lu Liangpeng had already killed one horse bandit and was brimming with confidence, displaying the demeanor of an expert, completely composed. "All right, but don't get careless. These people are desperate," Lu Tianhu warned as the battle was about to commence. "Kill." It was unclear if Lu Liangpeng had taken in the warning as he rushed forward to fight. Within the dense forest, the setting sun scattered through the leaves and onto the path. The three young men charged at the horse bandits. The first to engage in close combat with the horse bandits was Lu Liangpeng. Although he hadn't yet become a martial artist, his mastery of the breaking wind saber technique gave him speed and strength far beyond ordinary adults. With a leap, he kicked one horse bandit off their mount, while simultaneously sweeping his saber at the bandit's right arm. However, the opponent seemed to be well prepared and experienced, easily dodging the fatal blow and counterattacking with a swift chop. The powerful force generated from the counterattack was not inferior to that of Lu Liangpeng, a soon-to-be martial artist. At this moment, another bandit attacked Lu Liangpeng from the side, his sharp saber about to strike. However, at the critical moment, an unknown attack blocked the blow, giving Lu Liangpeng a chance to catch his breath. Lu Yun noticed this scene, and after a brief moment of thought, understood what had happened. The old village head must be at least a Meridian Passage realm expert. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to block the bandits' attack from such a distance. Knowing that a powerful expert like the old village head was secretly watching over them, Lu Yun hesitated no more and engaged the oncoming horse bandits. Clang! The saber left its sheath, its cold light flashing, and in an instant, one horse bandit was dismounted, followed by his head being separated from his body. This was the ultimate speed and explosive power of a martial artist in the mid-stage of Enter Martial Realm. So this is what it feels like to kill someone. It's not a big deal. It seems I was born to be an executioner. Lu Yun felt a touch of emotion during his first kill, but no discomfort. Die! At that moment, another horse bandit, gripping a large cleaver with a murderous look in his eyes, struck down at Lu Yun. Just as the blade was about to hit Lu Yun's forehead, he suddenly leaned back, easily dodging the fatal blow. Then, he delivered a sidekick to the horse's stomach, his powerful strength knocking the horse down. The horse bandit fell to the ground, and, before he could get up, felt an intense chill approaching. Not good. Realizing the danger, the horse bandit ignored the pain and drew his blade, attempting to block. Bang! With an overwhelming force, the long saber was sent flying, and a cold light burst out, slashing across the horse bandit's left shoulder. Blood poured out, and the pain made the horse bandit's vision blur, causing him to soon lose consciousness. Lu Yun quickly finished off the bandit with a final strike, then, as fast as he could, strove to kill another one. Another sudden attack, and another bandit fell to his death. In just a couple of moves, half of the dozen bandits had fallen, including the bald-headed bandit leader, leaving only 7 left. Damn, we've met a tough opponent. Seeing his comrades falling one after another, the muscles on the bald bandit's face trembled involuntarily. He pointed his blade at 2 of his men, ordering, "You 2, get over there and cut off the heads of those 3 kids." Pathetic! Just a few brats, and we have to deal with them ourselves. Such useless men don't deserve to run with us. One of the bandits mumbled under his breath, but still obeyed the bald man's instructions and attacked with his fellow bandit. Having dealt with another bandit, Lu Yun saw the 2 shadowy figures quickly approach. Such speed! Lu Yun was shocked. The speed and momentum of these 2 bandits were much stronger than the previous ones, even surpassing Lu Liangpeng and Lu Qianhu, who were at the practitioner level of martial artists. Lu Yun immediately realized that these 2 bandits were martial artists. Little brat, obediently accept death at my hands. In just 2 breaths' time, the bandit attacked, his slashing blade creating sharp, breakable sounds. Such powerful explosive force. Indeed, he's a martial artist. As a master of the breaking wind saber technique, Lu Yun instantly knew that this bandit was also a martial artist who had achieved greatness in saber techniques. However, he had reached small accomplishment in the mix origin technique, giving him enhanced strength and speed. He was unafraid and dodged the bandit's charge, engaging him in close combat. "Little guy, you've got some skill, but your 2 companions aren't martial artists and won't hold out for long. When the 2 of us martial artists attack together, let's see what you can do." The bandit constantly attacked Lu Yun verbally and physically, showing off his ruthless blade skills and rich combat experience, refusing to give Lu Yun an opening. Clang! Lu Yun forced his opponent back in a single strike, unleashing a barrage of concentrated wind blades that enveloped the bandit, giving him no chance to breathe. Breaking wind saber technique, after all, was a top-tier, third-rate martial art. Its 3 defensive moves gave it a fighting advantage, and for a time left the bandit with no ability to counterattack. At this moment, inside the carriage, Lu Sangxing commented with a faint smile, "Xiao Tsang, what do you think of these 3 kids?" "Village head, Although Lu Yun is suppressing his opponent with speed and strength, he lacks practical experience. Lu Tianhu and Lu Liangpeng can handle ordinary bandits, but one of the bandits is a genuine martial artist with rich battle experience. I'm afraid they won't hold out for long. Yes, it's just a few horse bandits, yet they're having trouble. When they face more powerful and experienced martial artists, what will they do? Lu Kangsheng's aged face showed a trace of worry. Sigh, I don't know whether sending them out of Spirit Creek Village was the right thing. Lu Tsang replied, Village head, I am not as wise as you, but I know only one principle. Eagles must eventually soar. They are still young and have not experienced life outside, but with their talent, as long as they gain experience, they will grow gradually. Especially Lu Yun, at such a young age, he can suppress a ferocious horse bandit martial artist. His future achievements are boundless. Yes, you're right. So now, while we can still provide help, let's help them grow as much as possible. The eyes of Lu Tsangxing gazed at Lu Yun and the others, brimming with the light of wisdom. Chapter 13, Chapter 13, Progress and Growth. 13, Chapter 13. Progress and growth. The setting sun cast a slanting glow, a gentle breeze blew, and the leaves on the trees swayed. The battle in the forest was still going on. At this moment, there were already over a dozen corpses lying on the ground. These corpses were, of course, all horse bandits. However, at this moment, the condition of Lu Tianhu and Lu Liangpeng was not very good. Both of them had several wounds on their bodies. I didn't expect to have a chance to fight side by side with you one day, Lu Liangpeng said coldly. Ha! I believe there will be plenty of such opportunities in the future. But there's one condition. You have to pass the test and enter the martial academy with me. Lu Tianhu laughed, not caring at all about his injuries. B0XO. Come, I'm a bit impressed by your courage, being able to joke around even at death's door. At this moment, the horse bandit had already dismounted. Each swing of his ringed saber produced a crisp metallic collision sound. He pressed closer step by step, his offense highly rhythmic and oppressive, gradually expanding his advantage. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianhu could only be broken through defensively. Could it be that the village head and the others are really going to stand by and let us die here? Although Lu Liangpeng still seemed relaxed on the surface, a sense of fear was brewing in his heart. No wonder! After all, they were not yet martial artists, and they were just under 13 years old. It was normal to be intimidated when facing such an experienced martial artist. However, once fear sets in, the moves they make are bound to reveal flaws, which were easily captured by the horse bandit. Another cut was made on Lu Liangpeng's body. There's less than half a month left before the Martial Academy examination. If their injuries are too severe, I'm afraid it will affect their chances of entering the Martial Academy, Lu Tsang said worriedly. Lu Tsangxing nodded. It's okay. The training effect is almost there. You can go and stretch your muscles a bit. Yes, village head. Just as Lu Tianhu and Lu Liangpeng were in danger, they suddenly saw Lu Tsang appear out of nowhere. He held the saber with both hands and strode forward. Not good. This guy is also a martial artist. As a martial artist, in the early stage of entering the martial realm, the horse bandit felt a sense of crisis from Lu Tsang, who suddenly appeared. But his movement was still a bit slow. As soon as he turned around, he felt a gust of wind coming from a saber, followed by an intense pain in his waist. His speed is so fast. He's at least at the same level as the boss. I'm no match for him. I have to escape quickly. The horse bandit was in a panic. He endured the severe pain coming from his waist and fled toward the direction of the bald man. Knowing he was no match for his opponent, the horse bandit ran away as fast as he could. In the blink of an eye, he had already escaped several tens of meters away. But how could Lu Tsang let him succeed? With a sudden leap, his right foot stepped on the trunk of a tree. He used the tree to propel himself forward, catching up to the horse bandit and slashing at him with a fierce swipe of his saber. Splash! A long wound was ripped open on the back of the horse bandit, blood gushing out, the injury bone deep. At this moment, the horse bandit finally lost his fighting power and fell into a pool of blood. Fuck, the kid has got some moves. The bald man saw Lu Tsang suddenly make his move, revealing at least the strength of a late-entry martial artist. He didn't dare to stay any longer, pulling on the reins and galloping away. Today it'll teach you another lesson. When dealing with enemies, cut off the roots to prevent future troubles. At this moment, Lu Tsangxing suddenly left the carriage and appeared in front of the bald man, blocking his way. You are very unlucky. Not only did you become a negative example, you will also lose your life. Lu Kangsheng's eyes were cold, his thick, true qi suddenly circulating. He took a step forward, and his palms struck out together. The powerful true qi emanated from his seemingly frail body, and a surging force roared and surged. At this moment, the sturdy bald man seemed like a tiny boat in the face of this terrifying storm. Before he could even feel terror, he was blasted away by the overwhelming force. You're a master of Meridian Passage Realm. The bald man spat out a mouthful of blood. Before dying, his eyes were filled with disbelief. If you don't completely eliminate the roots when cutting the grass, it will grow back when the spring breeze blows. For the sake of Spirit Creek Village, I hope you learn your lesson in your next life. Lu Tsangxing returned to his gentle old man's demeanor, letting out a long sigh. Immediately after, he glanced back at Lu Yun's direction and urged, "Kid, the sun is about to set. Finish the battle quickly. Otherwise, we'll have to spend the night outdoors." Boss, the bandit who was fighting Lu Yun had just seen his comrades fall in a pool of blood, and now witnessed their boss be killed by an old man in a single move, which caused his soul to be greatly frightened. He lost his footing in advancing and retreating, gradually becoming disoriented. Good opportunity. Lu Yun seized the opportunity to catch the enemy off guard, concentrating speed and strength, working hard to perform the move, sweeping away 1,000 mountains. Dada, dada. The bandit's head rolled off, dying with his eyes wide open. How does it feel to kill someone? Lu Tsang came over at this time, watching the three teenagers with great interest and smiling. Nothing much, no special feeling. Lu Liangpeng blurted out bluntly. Lu Tianhu shook his head slightly, his face somewhat pale. If I don't kill them, they'll kill me. Under the choice of either me dying or they dying, even if I feel uncomfortable, I can only make the right choice. Lu Tsang nodded slightly, then turned his questioning gaze to Lu Yun. Who knows how many souls have been lost in the hands of these bandits? In my eyes, they're not much different from wild beasts. Slaughtering wild beasts doesn't carry much psychological burden for me. Lu Yun wiped the blood off his blade, then casually cleaned up the battlefield. You all did very well, especially this kid, Lu Yun. He's very suited to be a martial artist. Lu Tsang's face was full of smiles, unspeakably satisfied. I remember when you were their age, even killing a chicken made you shake. In that respect, you were far worse than them. Lu Tsangxing walked over and teased. Seeing the growth of the three teenagers, he was genuinely happy. Ha! Old village head. Don't remind me of my past embarrassments. Lu Tsang said with his mouth, but his heart held no grudges. All right, let's get ready to go. Then Lu Tsangxing paused and ordered, we shouldn't stay here for long. Clean up the battlefield quickly and continue on our way. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianhu both suffered minor injuries and went back to the carriage to apply medicine. Only Lu Yun and Lu Tsang were left to clean up the battlefield. After a simple cleanup, Lu Yun obtained scattered silver from the bodies of the bandits, totaling 75 taels. Then, he found a yellowed book on the bald-headed big man's body. It was a third-rate martial arts secret manual called the Gale Saber Technique. Having already cultivated the breaking wind saber technique, Lu Yun was naturally uninterested in this and handed it over to Lu Tsangxing. As for the horses of the bandits, they were frightened and had already run away without a trace. In this way, Lu Yun and the others set out again. Name: Lu Yun Force, Spirit Creek Village, martial arts, breaking wind saber technique perfection. Third-rate martial arts cannot be promoted. Mix origin technique, small achievement, 3%. Innate talent. Level 5 martial arts, entry-level enter martial realm. Energy points, 0. 1. Sure enough, killing people won't yield energy points. Lu Yun secretly thought as he put away the attribute panel. Ever since discovering the attribute panel, after a long period of summarization, he found that there were only 2 ways to acquire energy points. One was to automatically obtain them. If he received enough nutrients from the outside world every day, 1 energy point would be accumulated every 10 days. The other way was by swallowing spiritual objects like blood ginseng. By swallowing it, the medicinal power contained within could be transformed into energy points. Moreover, with the promotion of martial arts level or tier, the effect of energy points would decrease. For example, when the third-rate martial arts breaking wind saber technique was just learned, 1 energy point could increase progress by 30%. After reaching a small accomplishment, 1 energy point could only increase progress by 20%. After great accomplishment, 1 energy point could only increase progress by about 10%. The energy points needed to upgrade higher-ranked martial arts and the promotion of mixed origin technique would be even greater. Chapter 14, Chapter 14, Cloudwater County Town. 14, Chapter 14, Cloudwater County Town. We've arrived at Cloudwater County. As the sun sets, a giant city imbued with the aura of time appeared, looking like a ferocious beast roaring and staring fiercely at Lu Yun and his companions. No wonder it's a county capital. It really is grand and magnificent. Lu Liangpeng stared at the city in the distance, his eyes full of admiration, his blood boiling with excitement like an energetic chick. As the only city within hundreds of miles of Cloudwater County, its scale is naturally incomparable to that of a small village. The towering and majestic city walls, bearing the marks of time and vicissitudes, provided a great visual impact to these youngsters from the village. Even Lu Yun, who had seen skyscrapers in his previous life, couldn't help but be amazed by the grandeur and magnificence of the city walls in front of him. This is just a small county capital. Once you pass the Martial Academy examination, you'll have a chance to witness the even grander and more magnificent Spirit Martial Prefecture city. Lu Tsang, who was sitting in front driving the carriage, explained, "Eldest brother Lu Tsang, I heard that Cloudwater County has powerful martial artists at the True Chi realm or above. Wouldn't there be even more powerful martial artists in the larger Spirit Martial Prefecture city?" Lu Tianhe's face rarely showed a hint of longing. "B0XO, Lu Tsang slowly said. Spirit Martial Prefecture has more than a dozen counties, with a population of tens of millions. There are countless martial artists. Being the most prosperous county capital, it naturally has legendary powerful martial artists. As for what realm they are in, that's beyond our knowledge as mere mortals. But one day you may find out how high and wide the sky and land of Spirit Martial Prefecture are, and how strong the most powerful martial artists are. That day won't be far away." Lu Yun stared at the city walls in the distance, clenched his fists, and secretly swore in his heart. Although he was currently just a small martial artist at the Enter Martial realm, He had achieved such progress in less than half a year since he stepped into martial arts. He was very confident in advancing to the Meridian Passage realm and beyond. Moreover, the most important thing was that he had the panel. As long as he accumulated enough energy points, he could climb the peak of martial arts. Let's enter the city. Once it gets dark, we won't be able to enter anymore, Lu Tsang said, driving the carriage forward. Soon, the carriage followed the flow of people, passed through the city gate, and entered the city. As expected from a county capital, even the guards at the city gate give people an invincible feeling. As soon as they entered the city, Lu Liangpeng couldn't help but sigh. These guards have cultivated at least one third-rate martial art to great accomplishment, and they wear armor, so their oppression and impact are naturally very strong. Lu Tsang explained with a smile, then slowly drove the carriage forward. Upon entering the county capital, their first priority was to find an inn to settle down in. There was still some time before the Martial Academy examination, and Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianhu needed to find a place to recuperate from their injuries. Due to the upcoming examination, many young men and women from other villages had come to participate, and there were many martial artists passing through the area, so the inns in the county capital were all fully booked. After searching for more than 10 inns, Lu Yun and the others finally found one, but by this time, the sky had completely turned dark. During this time, this will be my temporary residence until the examination begins. After returning to his room, Lu Yun sat on the bed, closed his eyes, and began to cultivate the Mix Origin Technique. Mix Origin Technique. Small achievement, 4%. Not upgradable. Energy points, 0. 1. The next morning, after discovering that the Mix Origin Technique had progressed by 1%, Lu Yun showed a satisfied smile on his face. Compared to using energy points to upgrade martial arts, Lu Yun preferred this way of relying on his own efforts and then becoming stronger. Of course, this was when there were no energy points, because with the use of energy points, he would become stronger, faster, and easier. Knock, knock. Just then, there was a knock on the door outside, and Lu Yun heard someone calling his name. Lu Yun, are you up yet? It was Lu Liangpeng. Lu Yun recognized the voice immediately, and then got up to open the door. The Cloudwater County capital is very lively now, and there are many gathered talents. Do you want to go out and stroll around together? As soon as the door opened, Lu Liangpeng stood at the doorway, inviting Lu Yun. Lu Yun didn't give a reply right away. Instead, he folded his arms and looked at Lu Liangpeng. Suddenly, his eyes focused on Lu Tianhu standing behind Lu Liangpeng. At this moment, Lu Tianhu's gaze also turned towards Lu Yun. After their gazes met, he curling his lips and said, "There is still some time before the assessment anyway, and am free right now, so it might be good to go out and get a feel for the other geniuses to prepare for the upcoming assessment." Upon hearing this, Lu Yun nodded. However, he was thinking of going out to find some items and accumulate some energy points for himself, so he said, "That's a good idea. Let's go out and have a stroll together." Great. The 3 experts of Spirit Creek set off. Lu Liangpeng said with a face full of smiles. Seeing this, Lu Yun shook his head. The so-called 3 experts of Spirit Creek were not worth much. However, he was somewhat curious, as Lu Liangpeng was not friendly to Lu Tianhu before, so why did he suddenly change his attitude? Curiosity aside, he didn't ask, "Huh." Just as the trio walked out of the inn, Lu Yun's gaze suddenly fell on a group of buildings across the street. It was a restaurant built with unparalleled majesty, like a king standing proudly and overlooking the surrounding buildings. Lu Tianhu followed Lu Yun's gaze and said with a shrug, "That's the Soaring Dragon restaurant. It is incredibly luxurious and caters exclusively to the true geniuses of the world. Over the years, Anyone able to reside in the Soaring Dragon restaurant has inevitably become a disciple of the martial academy. Lu Yun nodded upon hearing this. It seemed that their strongest competitors this time would be amongst those geniuses in the Soaring Dragon restaurant. At this point, Lu Liangpeng suddenly suggested, with your strength and talent, you are actually qualified for lodging at this restaurant too. Why don't we go and take a look? If you really do stay there, it would bring glory to us as well. The inn is quite nice. There's no need to make a show of staying at that restaurant. Lu Yun shook his head and retracted his gaze. In Lu Yun's view, it would be foolish to expose one's strength and risk getting into trouble just for a place to stay. However, there were times when trouble would actively seek one even if they don't go looking for it. Humph! It's a laughable joke for country folks like you to even think of residing in the Soaring Dragon restaurant. A cold snort came from afar. Just as Lu Yun and his two friends were about to leave, a figure approached from the direction of the Soaring Dragon restaurant, causing a commotion around them. When someone suddenly started hurling insults seemingly directed at him and his friends, Lu Yun couldn't help but turn his head curiously to see who this person was. It was a long-haired youth around 13 or 14 years old, with an air of arrogance on his face as he carried his hands behind his back. He snorted in disdain when he saw the envious and awed gazes from the crowd. This is Mu Qingyun, the young master of Breeze Mountain Villa. He already reached the late stage of the Enter-Martial realm and is said to have preemptively secured a spot in the Martial Academy. As people around saw this young man, they immediately began to discuss him. Hearing that he had already entered the late stage of the Enter-Martial realm, some people even gasped in admiration. Normally, a person wouldn't become a martial artist until adulthood, but the young master of Breeze Mountain Villa had not only become a martial artist at merely 13 or 14, but had also reached the late stage of the Enter-Martial realm. Such talent was definitely among the best of the best in Cloudwater County. Good dogs don't block the way. Which backcountry bumpkin doesn't know this? Mu Qingyun walked forward arrogantly with his hands behind his back. Upon seeing Lu Yun and his two friends standing in the middle of the street, he scoffed coldly. "You're the dog. Your whole family are dogs." Hearing this, Lu Liangpeng was immediately furious and retorted with harsh words. Mu Qingyun glanced at him with a disdainful look in his eyes. "You guys aren't even martial artists, and yet you want to join the Martial Academy? I don't know where you got the courage from, but I advise you to just go back to your poor mountain village so as not to embarrass yourselves here." Lu Liangpeng's body trembled with anger. He wanted to lash out, but Lu Yun stopped him. "If a dog bites you, would you bite back?" Lu Yun said indifferently, and then turned to leave. Lu Tianhu tugged at Lu Liangpeng's clothes and hurriedly followed. Although the young master of Breeze Mountain Villa was indeed arrogant, he had the strength to back it up. Defying him would only make things worse for themselves. Although Lu Liangpeng was impulsive, he wasn't ignorant and fully understood this fact. Even though his eyes were still filled with anger, he reluctantly followed the others. Watching the backs of Lu Yun and his friends as they left, Mu Qingyun snorted disdainfully. Frogs at the bottom of the well. Chapter 15. Chapter 15. Harvest, seclusion. 15. Chapter 15. Harvest, seclusion. You need to change your temper. It's not like when we were in Spirit Creek Village, with the village head and other elders taking care of everything. Nothing would go wrong. But now we're outside. We have to be cautious in words and deeds, or else if we accidentally provoke someone we can't afford to offend, it would be a minor matter if we only got ourselves killed, but if it implicates the village, that would be a serious crime. On the way, Lu Tianhu couldn't help but admonish. That guy was too arrogant, insulting us for no reason, even called us dogs. Didn't you hear that? Lu Liangpeng argued. People like him are obviously spoiled, rich young masters, used to giving orders and bossing others around. We should just bear with it. Anyway, with his temper, he's bound to hit a wall someday, and it would be too late for regrets. Fine, you're right, I can't argue with you. Lu Liangpeng knew he was in the wrong and didn't want to continue arguing with the other party. Lu Yun was always taciturn, not wanting to participate in or comment on the quarrels of the two half-grown kids. His mind focused on observing the shops on both sides of the street. B0XO, Calm Cloudwater County, was very large, and it took them an hour of strolling to finish just half of the street. Just then, Lu Yun suddenly stopped in his tracks, his eyes falling on a shop called Precious Woods Hall. The Precious Woods Hall had luxurious decorations, its facade rich and magnificent, standing proudly on the street. There was a constant stream of people coming in and out of the store, all apparently wealthy or powerful. What caught Lu Yun's attention was the variety of bottles displayed in the shop: porcelain, jade, you name it. Besides, he smelled a strong, refreshing aroma of pills that made his heart race. Let's go in and have a look. After a brief glance, Lu Yun decided to go in. To his surprise, both Lu Liangpeng and Lu Qianhu stopped at the entrance, touching their skinny pockets, but not following him in. "Can I help you, sir?" As soon as Lu Yun entered Precious Woods Hall, a clerk came up to him and gave a serious introduction. "We have all kinds of pills, including but not limited to healing pills, qi blood pills, power pills, meridian pills, etc. Hello, I'd like to know the prices. If they are reasonable and satisfy me, you will know," Lu Yun said unabashedly. The clerk glanced at Lu Yun's attire and smiled, not bothering to expose him, and said, "Hee, our Precious Woods Hall's prices are absolutely fair, and our customers can rest assured." After that, he took out a booklet and handed it respectfully to Lu Yun. "Since we have many customers and can't attend to them all, you can check this list. If you need anything, just call." "Okay." Lu Yun took the booklet and started to browse. Qi blood pill, with the main effect of enhancing qi and blood, sold for 1,000 taels of silver per bottle, with 12 pills per bottle. Power pill, with the main effect of tempering the body and enhancing strength, sold for 1,500 taels of silver per bottle, with 10 pills per bottle. Reviving pill, with the main effect of recovering from internal and external injuries, sold for 2,000 taels of silver per bottle, with 9 pills per bottle. When he saw the price of the meridian pill, Lu Yun couldn't look any further and immediately closed the booklet, silently leaving the Precious Woods Hall. Seeing the gloomy-faced Lu Yun coming out, Lu Liangpeng and Lu Qianhu exchanged glances, both showing expressions that said they knew it would be so. "I'll be back later," Lu Yun muttered before continuing down the street. Half a quarter of an hour later, the three of them arrived in front of a pharmacy. The pharmacy wasn't large, but it wasn't small either. A black plaque hung on its gray wooden door, with the words Lin Fei's Pharmacy written on it. There were a few ordinary-looking customers inside the pharmacy, and Lu Yun entered like a regular customer. After a quick glance around, he saw many familiar medicinal herbs: perilla, bupleurum, cyperus, angelica, astragalus, inula, brightpot, and more. Without a doubt, this was an ordinary pharmacy that made Lu Yun feel more confident about his own wallet. When the other customers left, the owner of the pharmacy came over. He stood with his hands behind his back, wearing a gray robe. He had a tuft of gray-white goatee, and though he was past 60, he was still strong and robust, with rosy cheeks and light steps. After approaching Lu Yun, the shopkeeper chuckled and said, "Young friend, you seem to have a strong body and vigor. You don't look like you need any of the ordinary medicinal herbs." "Shopkeeper, we're here to do business. There's no need for so many questions." Lu Liangpeng, who had caught up, said irritably, "Ha, you're right, I was being nosy, the shopkeeper said with a light laugh, and then asked Lu Yun, "So, what kind of medicinal herbs are you looking for? Let's see if my humble pharmacy has what you need." Lu Yun cradled his right arm with his left hand and stroked his smooth chin, pondering, "I don't really need any ordinary herbs, but I could use some blood ginseng or Ganoderma." Blood ginseng and Ganoderma are some of the main herbs in my pharmacy. Of course, we have them. Just wait a moment, young friend, and I'll go fetch them, the shopkeeper said before heading into the back room. When he reappeared, he was holding 2 boxes. He placed them on the table and opened one to reveal a blood ginseng inside. This blood ginseng is over 50 years old. It has an excellent effect of nourishing yang and enriching the blood. "If you want it, I'm willing to part with it for 100 taels," he said. Then he opened the other box and introduced, "This Ganoderma nourishes the qi and calms the mind, serving as a supplement for the lungs and kidneys. It's also aged over 50 years. As for the price, I'll take them both, but I'm only paying 150 taels. Lu Yun closed the box quickly to avoid the escaping medicinal properties. "Young friend, your price, you're cutting it a bit too deep, aren't you?" The shopkeeper hesitated. His eyes lit up as he stroked his goatee. 140 taels. "Young friend, 130 taels. Young, 120 taels. Fine, 120 taels. The shopkeeper blew his beard, glaring at Lu Yun, and said coldly, "I've never seen anyone haggle like you before. Thank you for your generosity, shopkeeper." Lu Yun hurriedly took out the silver, then collected the 2 boxes on the table, fearing the shopkeeper might change his mind. Initially, Lu Yun had prepared to borrow money from Lu Qianhu and Lu Liangpang, but he had unexpectedly bargained the price down to an amount that he could afford on his own. Take the right turn to leave. After receiving the silver, the shopkeeper said indifferently, "Haha, no need to see me out." Lu Yun turned and left nonchalantly. After leaving the pharmacy, Lu Liangpeng whispered in amazement, "Is this the Lu Yun I know?" The youngster who had just come from the mountains was truly astonished by Lu Yun's performance. Lu Tianhu shook his head, smiling helplessly. "Maybe we never really understood him." Upon returning to the inn, Lu Songxing said, "Cloudwater County has been a bit unstable lately, so don't wander around outside. Use the remaining time to train well. The city guards patrol the county town. Nobody would dare cause trouble." Lu Tianhu said with a frown, "Things are getting chaotic nowadays. It's not as simple as you think. Just stay in your own rooms and practice diligently." Lu Songxing did not seem eager to reveal more, and Lu Tianhu, intimidated by his authority, did not dare to ask further. As for Lu Yun, who had been planning to seclude himself for rigorous training, he nodded in agreement. After Lu Songxing finished talking, Lu Yun rushed back to his room, closed the door, and couldn't wait to take his newly purchased blood ginseng and Ganoderma. Chapter 16. Chapter 16. Assessment begins. Seeking to follow, save, and recommend. 16. Chapter 16. Assessment begins. Seeking to follow, save, and recommend. Soon, Lu Yun finished taking the blood ginseng and Ganoderma and summoned the attribute panel. Name: Lu Yun, power, Spirit Creek Village. Martial arts, breaking wind saber technique perfection. Third-rate martial arts, cannot be upgraded. Mix origin technique small achievement, 4%. Innate talent, level 5 martial arts. Enter martial realm mid-stage. Energy points, 3B0XO. A full increase of 2 energy points. Not a bad harvest. Spending only 120 taels of silver to get 2 energy points was a great deal for Lu Yun. It seems that I need to collect more silver in the future. Lu Yun, who had tasted the sweetness for the first time, thought to himself, for other martial artists, ordinary medicinal materials like blood ginseng don't have much effect, so they won't spend money to buy them. But Lu Yun is different. With his panel hack, he can spend less silver to buy these medicinal materials to get energy points and improve his martial arts. I wonder what level my mix origin technique can be upgraded to with these accumulated energy points. Lu Yun focused his attention and started to move his thoughts gently behind the mix origin technique. Upgrade. An hour later, when he looked at the panel again, it had already changed from before. Name: Lu Yun, Power, Spirit Creek Village. Martial Arts, Breaking Wind Saber Technique Perfection, third-rate martial arts, cannot be upgraded. Mix Origin Technique Small Achievement, 31%. Innate Talent. Level 5 Martial Arts, Enter Martial Realm Mid-Stage. Energy Points, 0. 3 as expected. 3 energy points could only increase Mix Origin Technique's cultivation progress by 27%, averaging at about 9% per energy point. But with such progress, Lu Yun was quite satisfied. If he had to rely on his own hard work, it would take at least a month's time. And this was with him having a level 5 innate talent. Innate talents level constantly determined a martial artist's upper limit and also restricted their cultivation speed. As for people like Lu Qianhu, whose innate talent isn't very good, it might take even longer. Now that his mix origin technique has reached a small accomplishment, Lu Yun estimated that he should be slightly more powerful than an average martial artist at the mid-stage of the Enter Martial realm. Of course, without actual combat, he couldn't be 100% sure. After all, since he started cultivating, he had only fought against one martial artist, and that person was only at the initial stage of the Enter Martial realm. There are still more than 10 days before the assessment. Although I can't cultivate my mix origin technique to a great accomplishment, I can't be idle either. Lu Yun put away his panel and thought to himself. Resolved, he began his closed-door cultivation. Besides having 3 meals a day, he rarely went out. Lu Songxing became more and more satisfied with Lu Yun, who possessed innate talent and was diligent in cultivation, and provided him with beast meat every day for nutritional supplements. Lu Qianhu and Lang Ping were not idle either. After their medicinal bath, their bodies still retained a significant amount of power that needed to be absorbed. During the time when Lu Yun and others were diligently cultivating, the atmosphere in Cloudwater County became increasingly lively, with youngsters and martial artists coming from all directions every day. 10 days later, the residents of Cloudwater County Magistrate Jiang Hongji welcomed 2 distinguished guests. Thank you both for your hard work. Our county has prepared a rich banquet to host the 2 of you. Jiang Hongji was over 40 years old, but he looked very young, like a vigorous young man, exuding a faint aura of prestige. As the lord of a county, he had a strong martial arts cultivation, but facing the 2 distinguished guests from the Martial Academy, he did not dare to be complacent about his status. Next to Jiang Hongji, there was also a scholarly middle-aged man, who revealed a heroic air between his brows and seemed to have a status not much lower than that of Jiang Hongji. This is our Cloudwater County Warden, Han Zhuang, who is responsible for countywide security, public order, and leading the Yamen officials. Lord Jiang is too polite. My senior brother and I have been entrusted by the Martial Academy to host the Cloudwater County examination, so we will need the help of both Lord Jiang and Warden Han. Lin Fei, a silver-robed disciple of the Martial Academy, lazily greeted with a smile. Another disciple from the Martial Academy who came with him seemed very young, about 16 years old, looking extraordinarily handsome and cool. He did not say a word during the courtesies exchanged between Lin Chen, Jiang Hongji, and the others. I presume this is the talented young man, Meng Hongfei, who became a member of the Star Palace after just 3 years of entry. At the banquet, Jiang Hongji flattered. Meng Hongfei nodded faintly but did not respond, making Jiang Hongji somewhat embarrassed. Seeing the situation, Lin Chen shook his head and smiled bitterly. Lord Jiang guessed right. My junior brother Meng had just entered the Star Palace, and just in time, he was assigned to assist me in overseeing the examination of Cloudwater County. Jiang Hongji was a man of tact and would not dwell on any issue. After all, the Martial Academy disciples who could enter the Star Palace were all experts of the true Qi realm, 1 in 10,000 talents. Even if they could not befriend them, they could not be offended. Both of you are the heavenly prides of our spirit martial prefecture and have extraordinary elegance. I'm afraid it won't be long before you reach the transforming origin realm. Warden Han Zhuang subtly changed the topic. Warden Han, you joke. To step into the transforming origin realm, one must transform true Qi into true origin. Who knows how many people are trapped in this step and cannot break through? Lin Fei shook his head and smiled bitterly. County Magistrate Jiang Hongji nonchalantly said, "That's true for others, but the two of you are both talented members of the Martial Academy's Star Palace. Surely you won't be trapped at this step." After the banquet, Lin Chun and Meng Hongfei, as distinguished guests, were arranged in the guest rooms. At night, the starlight was scattered, and the bright moonlight sprinkled all over the earth. Junior brother, what do you think of this county magistrate, Jiang? At this moment, Lin Chen's entire demeanor had changed a great deal, becoming incredibly sharp. From the looks of it, he should have no connection with the evil cult, but we need to investigate further. If confirmed, this mission will be a bit troublesome. Meng Hongfei gently pushed open the window, looking at the silvery moon hanging in the sky. Their arrival in Cloudwater County was not solely about overseeing the recruitment examinations. If it were just an ordinary examination, sending an old generation disciple of the Martial Academy would suffice. There would be no need for the genius Star Palace disciples to come in person. In my opinion, there must be a problem with either Jiang Hongji or Han Zhuang. We will find out who it is tomorrow. A cold light flashed in Lin Chen's eyes, and he began to sneer. Time flew by. As the sky just showed a bit of fishbelly white, the entire Cloudwater County boiled up. Many young talents gathered together, like a torrent, rushing towards the same direction. Today, I, Zhang Fada, will make a name for myself in Cloudwater County. After so many years of bitter cultivation, my sorrowful palm has finally reached perfection, all for this day. One after another, young heroes and ambitious geniuses emerged from different inns and restaurants. All trash. You guys want to make a name for yourselves. At this moment, from the Soaring Dragon Hotel, several strong figures emerged, each with the appearance of a young prodigy. It's them, the prodigies that the Soaring Dragon restaurant welcomed with swept floors. As they looked at the dozen or so figures walking out together, the entire street fell into deathly silence, and the people's eyes were filled with enthusiasm, because these people would definitely pass the examination, become disciples of the Martial Academy, and make their names in Cloudwater County. You will all be my stepping stones. Among the youthful figures, the imposing Mu Qingyun held his head high, full of arrogance, and the powerful aura deterred everyone. Ignorance is not terrible. It's blind arrogance that's pathetic. Another young figure walked out of the Soaring Dragon restaurant. He had sword-like brows and a refined appearance, an air of coldness and an unstoppable aura enveloped him. Among the many youngsters, he was like a round of blazing sun, with all the other geniuses becoming mere foils. It's Xiao Chun. It's rumored that he has already reached the Meridian Passage realm, and his talent for swordsmanship is extremely terrifying. Even when he was at the intermartial realm, he could kill Meridian Passage realm martial artists by fighting across realms. Voices of discussion emerged from the crowd. Chapter 17, Chapter 17. 3 tests, request for recommendation votes, request for monthly votes. 17 Chapter 17. 3 tests. Request for recommendation votes. Request for monthly votes. Martial arts. Breaking wind saber technique perfection. Third-rate martial art cannot be improved. Mixed origin technique. Small achievement. 54%. Indian room. Lu Yun, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed, suddenly opened his eyes. His pupils shone with a deep and incomparable light, completely unlike a young boy who was not even 11 years old. Today is the day of the examination. Lu Yun was slightly excited in his heart. He had been in this world for almost half a year, always staying in the mountain village and mostly coming into contact with ordinary people and low-level martial artists. Now, as long as he passes the examination, he will be able to fully enter the world of martial artists and have the opportunity to advance to higher martial arts realms. In order to achieve this goal, he will give it his all, and no one will be able to stop him. With the help of half a month of hard training and accumulated energy points, I've improved my mix origin technique training progress to small achievement, 54%, which is one step closer to great accomplishment. Lu Yun's mind slightly moved, and his powerful blood and qi surged, giving him incredible strength in every move he made. B0XO. Calm if he were to encounter the horse bandits from last time again, Lu Yun was confident that he could defeat them with just 2 strikes. His confidence mainly came from the mix origin technique, a top-notch second-rate cultivation technique. With just a small achievement, Lu Yun felt that he was in the middle stages of the enter-martial realm and feared no one. After washing up and putting on the new clothes prepared for him by his sister, Lu Yun pushed the door and went out. A fine saddle matched with a fine horse, and black clothes matched with a young man. Dressed in black, Lu Yun had just stepped out of the door when Lu Liangpeng, who had been waiting outside for a long time, greeted him. Lu Yun, you finally came out. The village head and the others have been waiting impatiently. We must hurry up and set off. Lu Yun apologized with a smile. Sorry for making you wait so long. Upon arriving at the first floor of the inn, Lu Yun saw Lu Tsangxing, Lu Tsang, and Lu Tianhu. They didn't seem as impatient as Lu Liangpeng had described. We still have some time. Let's eat something to fill our stomachs first. Lu Tsang beckoned Lu Yun to sit down, and on the table were 3 bowls of sturdy body soup. There were 5 people, but only 3 bowls of sturdy body soup, which were obviously prepared exclusively for Lu Yun, Lu Liangpeng, and Lu Tianhu. The 3 young men didn't hesitate or act politely, and under Lu Kangsheng's gaze, they quickly finished the soup. Today, I wish you all victories and have your wishes fulfilled. After Lu Kangsheng's inspiring words, the group left the inn together. On the street, there were many young people and martial artists making it very lively. They all went towards the central square of the county town, where the Martial Academy examination would take place. During their journey, Lu Yun learned some news from Lu Tsangxing. First, during their secluded hard training, Cloudwater County had been disturbed by the activities of an evil cult. The arresting officers of the county were repeatedly dispatched, and even the city guards were involved, but they had not achieved any results. Lu Yun was slightly surprised as he had heard some information about the evil cults, but he knew little about them. From what he knew, there were many evil cults in the Marine Empire, with the most powerful one being the Red Moon Demon Sect. However, its influence had not reached the Spirit Martial Prefecture. After getting more information from Lu Tsangxing, Lu Yun found out that the rampant evil cult in Ling Province was the White Lotus Sect, one of the powerful evil cults in the Marine Empire. Spirit Martial Prefecture was one of the subordinate prefectures of Ling Province, and for years the White Lotus Sect had been quite active, infiltrating various factions and causing a lot of trouble for the provincial and county officials. Secondly, there were many talented individuals participating in the Martial Academy examination, including a large number of official martial artists and even heavenly prides in the Meridian Passage realm. making the competition unprecedentedly fierce. Meridian Passage Realm? Lu Yun's eyes flickered. There were restrictions to participate in the Martial Academy examination. The first restriction was that the age should not exceed 15 years old. In other words, the martial artist in the Meridian Passage realm couldn't be much older than Lu Yun and wouldn't be more than 15 years old. Even if they were exactly 15 years old, the thought of a 15-year-old Meridian Passage realm martial artist was terrifying. In Spirit Creek Village, besides Lu Songxing, there was no other Meridian Passage realm martial artist. From this, one could see that the Meridian Passage realm was a threshold. In some small places, it represented the most powerful existence. I've also heard about that heavenly pride in the Meridian Passage realm. His name seems to be Xiao Chun, a swordsmanship genius with a terrifying talent for defeating higher-level opponents. When he was in the Enter-Martial realm, he had killed more than a handful of Meridian Passage realm experts. Lu Tsong said in a deep voice, defeating higher-level Meridian Passage realm experts. Lu Liangpeng gasped. It's unbelievable that such a heavenly pride has appeared in our Cloudwater County. Lu Tianhu remained silent, but Lu Tsong noticed and comforted him. Don't be discouraged. You are now very close to becoming an official martial artist, and there is a great chance of passing the examination. Thank you for your kind words, elder brother Lu Tsong. Lu Tianhu managed to squeeze out an ugly smile. Do I really have a chance? Lu Tianhu sighed, secretly in his heart, glancing at the black-clothed youth walking in front of him. He's so much younger than I am, yet he's already a martial artist. Is this the difference in talent? He shook his head slightly, carrying a belly full of thoughts as he continued to move forward. Lu Yun didn't know what Lu Tianhu was thinking, nor did he want to know. All he wanted now was to see what kind of incredible person the only Meridian Passage realm martial artist with the extraordinary genius of fighting against higher-level swordsmanship was. Although I am only in the middle stage of Enter Martial Realm now, as long as I have time, reaching the Meridian Passage realm is definitely not a problem. But can I, at the time of entering the martial realm, challenge and defeat a Meridian Passage realm martial artist by fighting above my level? Lu Yun thought to himself, but soon shook his head. He still had enough self-awareness about his own strength. The possibility of challenging and killing a Meridian Passage realm martial artist as soon as he entered the martial realm was slim. Unless after entering the Martial Academy, he gains other opportunities, such as cultivating more powerful martial arts. Today, in the county town, the streets were deserted as large numbers of people were heading to the central square to watch the Martial Academy's recruitment test, making the streets quickly become quiet. Soon, Lu Yun and his group arrived at the central square. Lu Yun cast his gaze across the square, noticing the grand and spacious atmosphere, covering an area almost the size of 10 football fields, enough to accommodate tens of thousands of people. The young men and women on the square stood tall and proud, full of youthful vigor. Outside the square, there were numerous black-armored city guards and arresting officers, armed with weapons and heavy crossbows, keeping the other martial artists and spectators outside. In order to maintain order, the city guards and arresting officers were also arranged around the central square to maintain the order of the assessment. Those participating in the assessment line up in order and enter the square. Others unrelated to the assessment wait outside. As Lu Yun and his group approached, a city guard shouted. Lu Songxing stopped in his tracks, speaking earnestly, "Xiao Tsong, and I will see you off here. The rest is up to you." At parting, Lu Tsong also clenched his fist and encouraged, "Fight hard and bring glory to our Spirit Creek village. We will definitely try our best to perform and not disappoint village chief and eldest brother Lu Tsong." Lu Liangpeng laughed, also encouraging himself. With thousands of people participating in the assessment, It was impossible for him to say there was no pressure. Among the three of them, Lu Yun was the only one with absolute confidence. Those who are participating in the assessment come over and stand properly. No waiting for latecomers. A loud voice rang out, drowning out all the surrounding noise and clearly entering everyone's ears. The young men and women hurriedly gathered together, and Lu Yun, Lu Tianhu, and Lu Liangpeng joined them, standing in the back of the line. As time passed, the line grew larger and larger, quickly surpassing 1,000 people. The several people at the front should be the geniuses who are staying at the Soaring Dragon restaurant. Even the gathering is led by them. It seems that these people are well known and highly regarded by the county. Lu Yun narrowed his eyes. In the entire line, 16 figures stood proudly, maintaining a certain distance from the others, including Mu Qingyun, who had fought with Lu Yun and the others before. At this moment, the gazes of a large number of martial artists and spectators outside the field were focused on these 16 young people with extraordinary features. Lu Yun was not surprised, looking at these 16 heavenly prides, trying to find the extraordinary genius in swordsmanship who could fight above his level. After watching for a while, he found nothing and helplessly withdrew his gaze. This was normal, as any of the 16 young people had higher cultivation than Lu Yun and outstanding temperament. Without deliberately releasing their aura, it was impossible to tell who was the strongest among them. At that moment, the square suddenly became noisy, and Lu Yun followed the crowd's gaze to see 4 figures walking in together from the entrance. These people must be far superior to the Meridian Passage realm. Lu Yun thought to himself. He had experienced the explosion of Lu Kangsheng's Meridian Passage realm at close range, but from these 4 people he felt an overwhelming aura that far surpassed the one he had experienced with Lu Zangxing. And this was only a hint of the aura they casually released without making a move. It's the county magistrate, the county warden, and the 2 genius disciples of the martial academy, the onlooking martial artists exclaimed. The county magistrate and the county warden were the most powerful and influential figures in Cloudwater County, and their strength was also at the peak of the true Qi realm. And the 2 geniuses from the martial academy would certainly not be weaker than the true Qi realm. With 4 true Qi realm powerhouses gathered, such a scene was rare in a place like Cloudwater County. Under the excited gazes of the crowd, the 4 true Qi realm powerhouses came to the stage in the square and sat down, looking down at the people in the square. At the head of the group was Lin Chen, a genius disciple of the martial academy. With one sweep of his gaze, the lively atmosphere at the scene instantly froze. This assessment is divided into 3 items. The first item is bone age and identity verification. Lin Chen's voice, mixed with genuine qi, spread out and resounded through the entire square. Chapter 18, Chapter 18. Reach Profound Crystal, seeking votes and monthly tickets. 18 Chapter 18. Reach Profound Crystal, seeking votes and monthly tickets. As Lin Chen finished speaking, Meng Hongfei, who was by his side, walked down from the stage and stepped in front of the candidates. My name is Meng Hongfei, a disciple of the Martial Academy. I am in charge of the Cloudwater County exam together with Senior Brother Lin. The first part of the exam is very simple. As long as you don't encounter any issues, you should be able to pass. Meng Hongfei's gaze swept over everyone, and a cold and sharp smile appeared on his face. However, if you don't pass the test, the consequences might be a bit serious. Sensing Meng Hongfei's cold smile, a chilling feeling rose deep within the hearts of the young boys and girls. Why do I have a bad feeling? Senior brother is just joking with us. B0XO. Come. Exactly, if we don't pass the test, at most we won't be able to join the Martial Academy. The young boys and girls started to discuss, dissipating their fear unknowingly. All right, let's begin the test. Meng Hongfei stopped the chatter among the people, and with a slight wave of his hands, two black-armored soldiers brought up a table. He then took out a black crystal ball that emitted a mysterious, profound light, giving it an indescribable charm. This is the Reach Profound Crystal, developed by the Court Observatory using a significant amount of resources. This is the first time it's being used. As for its specific effects, I won't tell you about them. Just line up accordingly, register in order, and walk past the Reach Profound Crystal. The crystal's appearance will change depending on the person, eventually showing 3 different colors. When that happens, you will need to stand in 3 separate lines based on the respective colors. Additionally, inaccuracies in the registration of your identity will result in consequences that you will have to bear. Meng Hongfei stood with his hands clasped behind his back, speaking sternly. Yes, the young boys and girls nodded in agreement. Since there was only one Reach Profound Crystal, more than 1,000 candidates had to undergo the test one by one. The information required for registration included name, age, and affiliation, a simple process that wouldn't take up much time. The first candidate to come forward for registration was a young man with sword-like eyebrows and shining eyes. Seeing him, Lu Yun's brows furrowed slightly. This person is Xiao Chun, that swordsman of heavenly pride, who fought against higher-ranked opponents. Lu Yun had learned about the young man's identity when he heard the whispers around him and saw many people casting glances at Xiao Chun. Upon closer inspection, this person indeed seemed extraordinary. He appeared young but had a refined aura, and an aura like an unsheathed, peerless sword. He stepped forward, quickly finished the registration, and walked past the Reach Profound Crystal, which enveloped him in its profound light. Then 13 star-shaped patterns emerged on the crystal, and the entire sphere emitted dazzling yellow light. During the process, the black-armored soldiers and the 4 true Qi realm masters remained silent. Xiao Chun walked over leisurely, found an empty spot, and stood there with his hands behind his back. Next were the equally talented young martial artists who had also stayed at the Soaring Dragon restaurant. They registered one after another. When they walked past the crystal, the number of star-shaped patterns that appeared did not exceed 15. The smallest number was 12. The entire sphere also emitted dazzling yellow light. As instructed earlier by Meng Hongfei, the powerful true Qi realm individual, they all took their places behind Xiao Chun in the yellow light team. Seeing how easily these people passed the test, the others lowered their guard and proceeded to register for the test confidently and boldly. Most of the people had no more than 15 yellow stars emerging on the crystal when they passed it, with the lowest being 10. As for the remaining few, 2 different situations arose when they passed the Reach Profound Crystal. First, the Reach Profound Crystal emitted dazzling red light, with 10 to 15 star-shaped patterns of varying numbers. Second, the Reach Profound Crystal suddenly emitted intense white light, but no star-shaped patterns emerged in the end. Candidates that caused the crystal to exhibit these 2 different responses were separated into 2 queues. Both queues had very few people. An hour later, it was Lu Yun's turn. Lu Yun, 10 years old, Spirit Creek Village. After swiftly registering his information, Lu Yun walked past the crystal ball. Enveloped by the mysterious light emitted from the Reach Profound Crystal, Lu Yun felt a warm sensation, as if he was being gently caressed by a warm, large hand. Before Lu Yun could react, 10 star patterns appeared on the Reach Profound Crystal, immediately followed by a dazzling yellow light. Upon seeing this, Lu Yun inexplicably breathed a sigh of relief for some reason. Walking slowly toward the queue with the most people, Lu Yun suddenly recalled the words of the young Martial Academy disciple from the beginning about how failing the test may have severe consequences. The number of star patterns must represent age, but what do the red, yellow, and white colors flashed by the crystal ball represent? Filled with doubt, Lu Yun cast a glance toward the directions of the other two cues. Hee, I passed the first test too. Suddenly, Lu Liangpeng patted Lu Yun on the shoulder, snapping him back to reality. We both passed the first test, so we should be happy. Why do you look so preoccupied? Lu Liangpeng, noticing the oddness in Lu Yun, asked. Lu Yun, of course, would not reveal his inner guesswork, and simply replied indifferently, most people can pass the first test, which means that the competition for the second or third tests will be incredibly intense. There's not much to be happy about. Oh, is that so? Lu Liangpeng found it difficult to comprehend and responded sheepishly. Anyway, we've passed the first test, and even if we're eventually eliminated, at least we wouldn't have lost face. Before long, the first test was completed. 3 cues formed on the entire square. The one Lu Yun was in being the largest with over 1,000 people. The other 2 cues consisted of test takers whose reach-profound crystal balls had emitted either red or white lights. There were a total of 10 in the former queue and 23 in the latter. Lu Yun perceived something off about the faces of the youths in these 2 cues. Anxiety, nervousness, and fear were all present as they couldn't put their finger on it. However, it was certain that under the watchful eyes of the black-armored city guards, they dared not make any sudden moves. Lord Jiang and Commander Han, tell me, how should we deal with those who ignore warnings and falsify their ages to attend the test, wasting our time? At this moment, Lin Chun on the platform spoke aloud. Very simple, just kill them. County Magistrate Jiang Hongji said coldly. Commander Han Zhuang, dressed in a green robe exuding scholarly elegance, smiled and said, that's not right. These youths merely long for the martial academy, and thus dare to risk everything. However, they cannot be allowed to waste our time by refusing to heed advice. Let's administer 20 military baton strikes each as a punishment. Since Commander Han shows compassion, I cannot go against your wishes. It will be done as you say. Jiang Hongji then turned to Lin Chen and asked, what do you think, my friend? Perfectly acceptable. Lin Chen responded with an amused smile. But guess which cute examinees are the ones who lied about their age? That. Jiang Hongji's brow furrowed slightly. This is my first encounter with the reach-profound crystal, so I don't understand its specific use. Han Zhuang remained silent, a subtle glint flickering in his eyes. Many of the young people waiting for the test results on the square were unaware that, in a short span of time, the fate of some of them had been decided by several true Qi realm martial artists during their casual conversation. Glancing at the true Qi realm martial artists on the platform, and then at Meng Hongfei, who appeared cold and aloof at the front, Lu Yun felt that his premonition was growing stronger. Bring forward those 23, administer 20 military baton strikes each, and expel them from the test site. At that moment, Lin Chen's voice, mixed with true Qi, echoed throughout the central square, clearly reaching everyone's ears and stirring unrest. Lu Yun looked up to see a group of black-armored soldiers walking in, taking the 23 youths into custody, and leading them away. Immediately after, the sound of baton strikes and miserable cries filled the air. Everything happened in the blink of an eye, but most of those present were smart enough to have a vague idea of what was going on. Wow, that's so cruel. Lu Liangpeng couldn't help touching his buttocks, imagining them being beaten and bruised, and shaking his head. I'm afraid this is just the beginning. Lu Yun's gaze shifted to the other queue. That queue only had 10 people. And during the test, the reach-profound crystal had emitted a dazzling red light. Chapter 19, Chapter 19, Sky Patrol Guard, 19 Chapter 19, Sky Patrol guard after being beaten with 20 army rods. The 23 young men all looked half dead and were dragged out of the square by the black-armored soldiers. It was truly tragic. Their families and elders were heartbroken, but they did not dare to say more. After all, it was wrong to lie about their age to participate in the Martial Academy's assessment. All right, let's move on to the second assessment. Han Zhuang said. Jiang Hongji looked at the high sun and agreed. Yes, time is running short. We must hurry up. No need to rush. It's not over yet. Lin Qin shook his head. What does friend Lin mean by that? Jiang Hongji frowned. Lin Qin smiled and said, Isn't there still one team left unprocessed? B0XO. Come, Jiang Hongji asked doubtfully. Did they also lie about their ages? No, their offenses 10 to 100 times more serious than lying about their ages. Lin Chen's smile gradually faded, his voice becoming cold and icy, filled with murderous intent. I forgot to tell you both. The Reach Profound Crystal is a product of the Sky Patrol Office's extensive research and investment, and its abilities go far beyond simply testing bone age. Its main purpose is to detect the aura of an evil cult. As long as one has been tainted by the evil cult's influence, the Reach Profound Crystal will emit dazzling red light. When these 10 people were tested, the Reach Profound Crystal emitted a dazzling red light, proving beyond a doubt that they are spies arranged by the evil cult. What? These people are all evil cult spies. Could it be a mistake? Jiang Hongji exclaimed incredulously. 800 years ago, the founding emperor of Morijin unified the world and established the Morijin dynasty. The army swept across the land, wiped out all sects, and established martial academies in each province to cultivate talent. From then on, the world was unified, and talent was gathered in the court. Within the territory of Morijin, the remnants of religious sects were regarded as evil cults, and the Sky Patrol Office was established to patrol the world and eliminate the evil cult's influence. However, as time passed, internal conflicts within the Morijin dynasty grew more severe, and the power of the evil cult gradually revived, with their spies infiltrating the court. The Martial Academy, as a base for cultivating talent, naturally attracted the attention of both the court and the Sky Patrol Office. But could a single crystal really detect that someone was a spy of the evil cult? Let me tell you, not too long ago, a major investigation of the Martial Academy found that there were hundreds of evil cult spies. However, the news was temporarily kept secret, so you were simply unaware of it. From now on, the Reach Profound Crystal will not only be officially included in the assessment for recruiting Martial Academy disciples, but it will also be widely used among the Sky Patrol guards. Lin Chen's tone was gloomy, and his gaze uncannily swept over Han Zhuang and Jiang Hongji, giving people the feeling that he was selecting his next prey. Lu Yun's eyes narrowed in the square, sensing that Meng Hongfei's aura seemed to have undergone a subtle change. Whoosh! Sure enough, a fleeting saber shadow appeared and vanished in an instant in Lu Yun's vision, without a clear glimpse. He only vaguely saw that with a single stroke, the saber was like a startled swan piercing the sun. The whip-like saber wind left a long trail on the ground in the square. Bright red blood splattered everywhere. Soon after, the 10 young men fell to the ground, devoid of any life. What a terrifying saber technique! Lu Yun murmured to himself. Meng Hongfei's speed and saber technique were so powerful that they exceeded Lu Yun's imagination, making him feel almost suffocated. As still as a virgin, yet as ferocious as a flood dragon. The seemingly simple stroke was incredibly powerful, like a flood dragon emerging from the sea, swift and unpredictable. Standing at the head of the line, Xiao Chun could not help but clench his fists, subconsciously reaching for the 3-foot-long green peak at his waist. However, he quickly ceased such a pointless action. Although he was confident, it did not mean he was arrogant. These people are all evil cult spies. I have executed them on the spot. Based on the information you have just registered, trace their connections and capture the evil cult forces in one fell swoop. Meng Hongfei ordered the arrest officer beside him. Yes, Cloudwater County arresting officer Wang Qi did not resist Meng Hongfei's order, appearing to accept it as a matter of course. Brothers, it's time for us to make our mark. Follow me and set off immediately. Wang Qi copied a list of the names and led a group of arresting officers to depart swiftly. Watching this series of events unfold, the many young people in the square looked at each other, feeling that everything had happened too suddenly, and they were completely in the dark. Just as they thought everything was about to end, a familiar voice echoed once again in the square. In addition to overseeing the Martial Academy's student assessments during our visit to Cloudwater County, we have another task: to investigate the infiltration of the county government by evil cult forces. Lin Chun leaped down from the high platform, and as he landed, the immense impact caused the blue stone on the ground to crack. He walked slowly to the reach-profound crystal, holding it in his hand. Meng Hongfei stepped forward, standing shoulder to shoulder with him, coldly. "What do you mean by this?" Jiang Hongji's tone was somewhat unpleasant, as he vaguely sensed that Lin Chun and Meng Hongfei seemed to be targeting him. "Of course, it means asking the both of you to prove your innocence and refute any connections with the evil cult." Meng Hongfei held his saber horizontally, its cold edge shimmering. Under the reflection of sunlight, it was quite dazzling. "You think I and Commander Han are spies from the evil cult?" Jiang Hongji's tone grew colder as he slowly stood up, eyes fixed on the pair. Lin Chen was not afraid and spoke calmly. "This is only a suspicion, so we hope the two of you can prove your innocence. As for the method, you must know it." "Humph, how ridiculous. What kind of status do County Magistrate Jiang and I have? We are not to be slandered and defamed by immature youngsters like you." Han Zhuang slammed the table, abruptly standing up from his seat. His whole demeanor changed suddenly, his sharp edge emerging, no longer showing any trace of the previous gentleness. Jiang Hongji's expression slightly eased, but he still didn't look too good, and coldly snorted. "Our county respects the Martial Academy students and regards them as the talents of Spirit Martial Prefecture, so we cooperate and treat them as esteemed guests. However, this does not mean you can act willfully in front of us." So County Magistrate Jiang thinks being a Martial Academy student is not enough. Lin Chin smiled faintly, then took out a token from his waist. The token was golden in color, only palm-sized, with a fierce python engraved on the backside, and the word Sky Patrol Guard engraved in seal script on the front side. "A first-grade Sky Patrol Guard? You are from the Sky Patrol office?" Upon seeing the golden token, Jiang Hongji's expression changed instantly, and Han Zhuang's body trembled slightly, his gaze accidentally sweeping the surroundings. The Sky Patrol office was not only responsible for eliminating evil cult forces, but also had the authority to supervise hundreds of officials. The Sky Patrol office was divided into 3 levels from top to bottom: Sky Patrol Guards, Sky Patrol Envoys, and the Chief of the Office. The lowest-ranked first-level Sky Patrol Guards were equivalent to 7th-grade officials in the court, and when dealing with evil cult forces, they could mobilize all officials of the same rank and below. Although Jiang Hongji was a county magistrate and a 7th-grade official, Han Zhuang had an even lower rank, being only just a 7th-grade official. The Sky Patrol office suspects that Cloudwater County government officials have been infiltrated by evil cult forces and has specifically sent the 2 of us to investigate. Now, we ask the both of you to cooperate. Lin Chen put away his identification token and spoke in a stern tone, in a businesslike manner. Meng Hongfei stared intensely at Jiang Hongji and Han Zhuang, ready to strike at the first sign of any irregularities. As a subordinate, I shall cooperate with the Sky Patrol Office. Not to mention that a first-grade Sky Patrol Guard's rank was not lower than his own, but the fact that the Sky Patrol Office had the authority over life and death for officials below the 3rd grade was enough to make him cooperate obediently. If he didn't cooperate, the consequences would be serious. At best, he would lose his job. At worst, his entire family would be executed. There had been cases like this in the past, and in the most severe instances, even 9 generations of a family were affected. That was why the reputation of the Sky Patrol Office was deeply rooted in people's hearts, and even those with great power didn't want to confront it easily. Thus, under the supervision and threats of Lin Chen and Meng Hongfei, Jiang Hongji obediently came forward. Only after close contact with the subject could the reach profound crystal function to identify whether the person had any connection with evil cult forces. Jiang Hongji took a deep breath and walked in front of the reach profound crystal. He hadn't lied earlier. He genuinely had no knowledge of the reach profound crystal and didn't know if it was reliable. If an accident occurred, the consequences would be serious. After a few breaths, the reach profound crystal finally changed, emitting dazzling white light. Although he didn't know the specific principles of how the reach profound crystal worked after the previous incidents, he knew that if red light appeared, he would be in danger. Fortunately, it was not the case. Jiang Hongji breathed a sigh of relief and laughed softly. As a loyal servant of the court, I stand firmly against the evil cult forces, and if the 2 of you have any instructions, I will cooperate. Ha ha! Thank you, County Magistrate Jiang. Lin Chen's attitude changed upon seeing Jiang Hongji was not a spy from the evil cult. Before this, he and Meng Hongfei had the deepest suspicion towards Jiang Hongji. As the highest commanding officer of Cloudwater County, Jiang Hongji's influences were deeply rooted. If he was a member of an evil cult, the impact that would be caused and the scope involved would be wide, which would be troublesome for them to handle. Now that Jiang Hongji had cleared his suspicion, the difficulty of their mission had been reduced considerably. Commander Han, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and clear your suspicion, then continue with the rest of the assessment. Seeing that a lot of time had already passed, and only the first part of the Martial Academy assessment had been conducted, Jiang Hongji couldn't help but urge him. Chapter 20, Chapter 20, Assessment continues. 20 Chapter 20, Assessment continues in the central square. The sun was shining brightly. A group of young boys and girls looked at each other, bewildered. Everything changed too quickly and caught them off guard. First, those who lied about their age to participate in the test were each beaten with 20 military sticks and driven out of the square. Then, 10 test takers were accused of being evil cult spies and forcefully killed. Now, the 2 Martial Academy disciples in charge of the assessment had turned into Sky Patrol Guards, forcing the 2 highest-ranking officials of Cloudwater County to prove their innocence. B0XO. All these events undoubtedly shattered their previous understanding. Do we really have to go through with this? Han Zhuang sighed softly and remained still. If the opponents were not Sky Patrol Guards, he could find various reasons to avoid being tested by the Reach Profound crystal. However, once the Sky Patrol token had appeared, his way of retreat was completely blocked. Until now, Han Zhuang still did not know why the Reach Profound crystal appeared suddenly, and moreover, how it could detect whether someone was from the evil cult. The unusual atmosphere around Han Zhuang immediately made the whole scene tense. The heavily armed guards with heavy crossbows looked serious, but no one dared to move. They were well aware that although the county warden was their highest-ranking officer, with the order of the Sky Patrol Guard, they would have no choice but to execute their own supervisor if necessary. This was the deterrence of the Sky Patrol Office, and the power of the Sky Patrol Guard. Moreover, according to the current situation, their county warden might indeed be a member of the evil cult. Commander Han Yu? Jiang Hongji looked at Han Zhuang, seemingly trying to confirm something. He took a step forward. Han Zhuang looked at Jiang Hongji, who was full of disbelief, and spoke indifferently. Someone like you, who feeds on your position without any effort, can always stay above me. This just shows the court's injustice. Since the court is unfair, how can I not seek another way out? With his words, Han Zhuang erupted with an intense or straining air, his clothes dancing, his hair fluttering, and the blue stone under his feet trembling and shattering in layers. Confronted with such a powerful aura, the boys and girls participating in the assessment retreated one after another, making the scene chaotic. Lu Yun quietly retreated, moving closer to the heavily armored city guards. In his view, a fierce battle might break out soon, and the closer he was to Lin Chun and the others, the more dangerous it would be. True Qi realm martial artists were too unpredictable for him, let alone this Han Zhuang, who seemed to be even more powerful than true Qi realm ones. What? Transforming origin realm. Seeing the red gas surrounding Han Zhuang, Jiang Hongji's heart sank. That was true origin, the unique symbol of a transforming origin realm martial artist. Although shocked, he remained calm on the surface and bowed to Lin Chun, saying, "Two sirs, Han Zhuang has reached the transforming origin realm. I'm afraid we need to work together to resist him." Hearing this, Lin Chen's mouth curled into a subtle smile. "There is no need for the three of us to join forces. Lord Jiang and junior brother Meng will guard me, preventing any escape or harm to others." After saying this, the smile on his face disappeared, and cold frost covered it. His white true origin swirled around him as he shouted with a thundering voice, "Han Zhuang, you colluded with the evil cult and betrayed the court. Do you plead guilty?" The loud voice echoed, not only among the youngsters and guards, but also reached the ears of martial artists watching from outside the square. Among them, some martial artists quietly retreated into the crowd, unnoticed by others. "You are also a transforming origin realm martial artist." Han Zhuang's face turned ugly, as expected of the heavenly pride from the Star Palace of the Martial Academy. "With your strength, you are indeed qualified to be a second-level Sky Patrol Guard in the Sky Patrol office. As long as I kill you and eradicate the evil cult forces in Cloudwater County, I will be a second-level Sky Patrol Guard." As his words fell, the blade emerged. The cold aura seemed to form ice flowers in the air, and the square, under the scorching sun, became cold. Seeing this vicious blade, Han Zhuang was horrified. After joining the White Lotus sect, he had received many resources, converted his true Qi into true origin, and advanced to the transforming origin realm. He was almost invincible in Cloudwater County. As for the two genius disciples from the Martial Academy's Star Palace, he had not taken them seriously. After his identity had been exposed, he had still been at ease. Only after Lin Chun revealed his transforming origin realm cultivation did he take it seriously. But unexpectedly, after Lin Chen's complete eruption, his strength turned out to be so strong, strong enough to make him tremble with fear, so strong that he lost his composure and couldn't even avoid it in time. Bang! A scream, accompanied by splattering blood. A severed arm fell heavily onto the bluestone ground. Han Zhuang retreated abruptly. At this moment, Lin Chen's sudden explosive strike had severed one of his arms, and the remaining cold, true origin was invading the wound, causing him so much pain that his face turned pale. "Why is your strength so great while we're both in the transforming origin realm?" As Han Zhuang spoke, he gritted his teeth. Both were in the transforming origin realm, but the gap between the two was not ordinary, so large that he could not resist. Lin Chen shook the blade gently. Blood clotted on the blade. turning into clumps and falling to the ground along with the trembling blade, relying on external force to break through. How can you know how strong the true origin is transformed after the true chi is refined to the extreme? However, it doesn't matter. You can experience its power and horror in detail. The moment the words fell, the long blade slashed out again. Compared with the previous slash, this one also had a chilling aura, almost freezing the surrounding hot air, the long blade falling with a brilliant white light and a sound of breaking through the air. Han Zhuang's face showed a strange smile. Although you're very strong, if I want to leave, you can't stop me. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot as the long blade fell down, slicing through empty space and lifting the blue stone on the ground. At the same time, a figure appeared like a rainbow shooting through the sky, like a green dragon emerging from the sea, causing a stormy wind. Puff! The sound of the blade piercing through flesh rang out, followed by a scream, and Han Zhuang's body crashed to the ground. I've been waiting for you for a long time. As the true chi swayed, the blood on the blade spilled on the ground, and Meng Hongfei looked down at the corpse on the ground with a hint of indifference. At this point, Jiang Hongji's face was filled with disbelief. How is it possible to kill a transforming origin realm opponent by crossing realms with true chi realm? Although Han Zhuang had broken through with external force and had an arm severed, he was still a transforming origin realm expert, but he was killed by Meng Hongfei, who was only in the true chi realm. Meng Hongfei's strength was beyond Jiang Hongji's expectation. Even though he could hardly believe it, the scene just now had clearly told him that Meng Hongfei had killed Han Zhuang, who was at the transforming origin realm, with his true chi realm strength. This Meng Hongfei was indeed a martial academy heavenly pride, who advanced to the Star Palace within 3 years of entry. Realizing this, the previous displeasure in Jiang Hongji's heart instantly dissipated. Well, I was going to interrogate him about whether he still has accomplices, but it didn't work out. Lin Chen walked over and looked helplessly at Meng Hongfei, who was expressionless. If he wanted to kill Han Zhuang with his strength, the first blade strike would not have just severed an arm. His plan was to use the second blade to render Han Zhuang completely incapacitated and then interrogate him about his accomplices and the evil cult power he belonged to. Unexpectedly, Han Zhuang still had the power to evade and was finally killed by Meng Hongfei in one fell swoop. Things turned out differently than expected, but that did not matter. Their mission this time was to verify whether Cloudwater County's government had been infiltrated by the evil cult. Now, having verified and executed the mastermind, they could follow the trail and find any other lurking evil cult spies. At this point, their mission from the Sky Patrol office is almost done, and the finishing touch will be left for the county government office of Cloudwater County to deal with. Next, they need to continue completing the tasks of the Martial Academy. With this in mind, Lin Chen said to Lord Jiang, "Lord Jiang, let's sit down and talk." Okay. So Lin Chen and Jiang Hongji sat down to discuss the matter, one after another. Meng Hongfei, on the other hand, sheathed his blade and looked at the shocked young boys and girls, coldly saying, "The little interlude just now is over. We will continue with the next assessment." Yes. Lu Yun and the others quickly recovered from their shock and reassembled in the shortest possible time. At this moment, their eyes were filled with admiration and envy as they looked at Meng Hongfei, his elder brother, who was not much older than them, left a deep impression in their minds as he killed a transforming origin realm opponent by crossing realms with his true chi realm.